You are now listening to the Sae Bae Cast, the #1 old school RuneScape podcast featuring guests from all across Galanor. To support this podcast, visit the Patreon link in the description.
All right, welcome to the Sae Bae Cast, number 84, with Randalicious for his second appearance. Randy, how you doing today?
Hello, doing good. Thank you for having me back on for a second time. Last time I had a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that this one can live up to how great last year was.
Yeah.
Pretty honored to be back on.
Oh, it's definitely my pleasure. As I stated probably in last year's episode, I've always been a fan of Randy. In fact, this is for the audience mostly. I know you already know, but you were the first streamer streamer in general that I ever watched and followed on Twitch. So that was definitely like a throw. Just thinking of those streams, back in your room, you had all the Viking posters everywhere.
Yeah.
I think you were doing fire making at the time. I think that's what it was. And just some good old nostalgia back when I was a complete noob, and watching somebody super high level, rank 2 at the time, was just incredible to kind of witness. So great to have you back on. I guess for those that are, for those unfamiliar with who you are, I guess you can just have a brief introduction, and then, we'll get into some topics.
All right. I've got 200 mil in all skills, so 4.6 bill XP. I achieved that last year. In October, I played about 40 to 50 hours a week for 8 years to obtain that. And I am also the leader of the skilling clan Hexis, and I've been the leader of that for almost 9 years now.
That's insane. Yeah, I gotta say, big congrats on 200 mil. All of that is something just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was a lot of time, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely a journey.
Yeah, you got to experience all the ages of old school. I mean, literally from day one to up until you got 200 mil, all just consistency. And we see it with a lot of players. I think the player that people are most well known with is Jace, just his consistency.
Yeah, real good player. And, he was able to, obviously play, he was really consistent, I think, hitting 60s to 80s, somewhere in that range for, several years, just real consistent with it. And, did a great job, finishing up second where he did. I mean, no one can compete with Lynx.
Yeah.
But he did a good job beating every other person ever.
Yeah.
With his consistency.
Yeah, I want to, in a second, I do want to just kind of hear about that, I don't know, chase again. Again, we talked about a lot of this stuff, I'm assuming, last year. Just for those listening, I did not just rewatch the entire podcast just so we don't cover anything repeatedly. But there will be some repeat stuff on here inevitably. But yeah, I think that is kind of part of the journey. It's like these players that are just around you for 8 years, you probably build some either close rivalries or close connections with these people that are just all across the globe competing on a virtual click simulator to 200 mil all. I don't know. I find that in a way sort of beautiful. Just you're all kind of glued to the grind, but you don't even know each other. I don't know.
Yeah, and you form, there are so I finished on the high scores, I'm ranked 22. And there's several people that finished ahead of me that not several, but probably a couple of these guys that I've never even had a conversation with. But through when you're playing that much and you've got a goal like that, it's just be myself and everyone who finished ahead of me are checking, Temple or Crystal Math Labs, depending on the era. Yeah. That's getting checked on such a regular basis that you form a relationship with the people that are, competing around you, whether you're having contact with them or not, just seeing okay, they're still on the grind.
Yeah.
Just like I am, that.
How motivating was that to see a player that's kind of it's significantly below you, but you see the trend they're on, like, you know, they could potentially pass. Is that motivating, or is that like, oh shit, like?
Probably more of an shit, because you know there's like a lot of the guys who finished before me. You know, like, hey, you know, we're all putting in hours. You know, so it's, you know, there's no shortage of hours being put in. But
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the people that finished before me, like had some strong periods of time where they were just able to play a lot more. And you know, when there's so many people that are, like when you're like that high ranked, like a lot of the, like, yeah, it takes a whole lot of volume play time, but
Yeah.
you got to also like have some kind of form of efficiency with that. So, you know, when you're seeing guys that are behind you that are, putting up some serious hours, at a certain point, it was like, they're going to pass me in a few months, type of thing. So not really more motivating, because I didn't really have the ability to like free up some like free time to be able to compete as hard as some of these other guys who did excellent work in completing before I did. But yeah, more of an shit
Yeah, and
type.
I think with you especially, it was definitely more of an shit. You had your life relatively together comparatively to, I'm assuming, a lot of the other players. Just more responsibilities in real life, which obviously can take a toll on your hours that you can actually put into the game. So, again, we've probably covered some of this stuff, but I want to ask, because I'm curious, at what point were you not able to put in everything into the game? Because I'm assuming there was a point where you could just go all out, at least in the early days. When did that kind of fizzle out and you had to realize you had to get a balance going?
It actually was like from the start that I wasn't able to like put I think I had throughout the whole like 8 months, I had like maybe like a 2.5 month period in between where like I graduated like from college, and it was prior to me starting the academy. The academy started so early in what would have been the summer, that like I didn't even bother to get like a summer job for like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And during that like 2 month time frame, I like could have played, like, and again, like for the listeners, like I'm pretty aware like how stupid and nerdy it sounds. But during this like 2.5 month time frame, I would have been able to play, like 100 hours a week, or something like that. But like, and when I say only, again, like I know it sounds, I only was playing like 60 hours a week. Because
Is
like
that EHP or is that like login time for those listening?
I mean, it was probably close to EHP,
Yeah.
but about like login time would have been around like 60 or so.
Okay.
When, you know, during that just specific time period, it could have been like 100 or so, and not been an inconvenience. But no, I mean, even like from the start, because like when old school came out, I was still like full time in school, with my girlfriend, who ended up becoming my wife. But even like when old school first came out, I had that going on with school, and I had a like summer job. And then as we then moved into like my sophomore year, I had still like full time school for 4 years, and I worked part time for 3 of those years. And like while I was in school, and my wife and I were together. But then like during the summers, I I had like a full time job, and then like I had a separate part time job. Like I had like a almost like a services like trade type job, and then I also did like part time umpiring for baseball as well,
Cool.
like during the summers.
Yeah.
So like throughout the whole journey, there was really only just like a couple months period where it could have been, just some.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because my wife was she was like finishing her degree, but she was staying still like in school. Like she had an apartment like near the school complex, and she still stayed there over the summer because she still had classes.
Yeah.
With she was trying to like do some accelerated stuff on it.
So I remember,
So yeah.
I remember last year talking, and you were just saying how excited your wife's gonna be after you complete this game. I think she supported you through it. I think that's what you
she
told me.
did.
But
She did. To like put up with it, like because
yeah,
a lot of time, like for probably a couple of years worth, like if we were to like watch a movie together or something, like and she would like understand I'm probably gonna be like AFKing on my phone, cutting redwoods or like doing barb fishing.
did that ever affect you? Like, was that something like, "Ugh, I have to AFK, or was it like I want to AFK, like I enjoy doing something on the side, or did it ever get to the point where it's like, holy fuck, like this, I'm always multitasking this game?
Uh, probably a combination of the two. Because I mean, like like even when I was like mowing my lawn, which is like I'd be cutting redwoods, and I'd have the like the sound alert, like when that tree falls,
Yep, yep.
whatever noise, and I'd pull my foot, like I'd have it like in my pocket, like whether it be like a shirt pocket or like a hoodie pocket
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something like that, and like I'd be listening to like music. But then, like I also, like connected through my phone, I'd have like the sound alerts on and hear when the tree fell.
yeah.
So I mean, it was like, and like I mowed the lawn quite a bit even after like I finished, and I was just like, as I was mowing the lawn, I was like, I'm pretty bored doing this, So I think that was probably just more so like, my brain like multitasking for so many years
Yeah.
that like it feel like not being even like with RuneScape, like it feels like not being like enough like stimulating from a mental aspect, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And there was always mobile from day of release, technically, right? With desktop or remote desktop. Was that something
Yeah.
you were doing like basically as soon as you started competing? Was just always mobile if you're not by the PC?
In 2014 was when I started to like play mobile, but through it started out as team viewer, but then transitioned into Chrome Remote Desktop.
Mm-hmm.
But like I started that in like 2014, and I think from 2014 to probably like 2017. So it was like 4 years there. Like that was like Chrome Remote Desktop type of gameplay, and then like the actual mobile app came out in October of 2018, and that's when that really increased the ability to do things on mobile. Whereas like on Chrome Remote Desktop, you were very limited as to the activities that you could do to like any level of efficiency.
Yeah.
So that like when I did that at the time, EHP, like with how Slayer worked and everything, and even how like gaining XP outside of Slayer was the most efficient thing to do on mobile from 2014 to I don't know, I guess, but 2017 maybe or whatever was like doing NMZ,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be how it would be done in.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of mobile just on that.
Yeah, that's something definitely
And
a sacrifice, I think. I think in my mind, because I never did compete, like heavily. There was like little phases of my accounts where I'd be like, "Ooh, like I'm kind of competing for high scores," but I'd never go that hard. I remember I set a deadline for my max, which I maxed in 2019. And I just remember I set a deadline for Christmas Eve. I was like, I need to max by this date. And it was like early November. And I knew like how many hours I had. And yeah, I started playing mobile, and I would play mobile. I mean, it's like Alabama, like I'm out in Alabama in Christmas time, and it like the humidity plus the coldness, like it was freezing. So my hands are like out there. I'd be
oh,
taking a little walk, chopping. It was always redwoods, of course. Luckily, I had saved wood
can
cover.
can I interrupt real
Yeah,
quick?
go for it.
So it's very like when I take my dog out for a walk, like even during the winter, like that kind of reminding, like like, and again, like viewers, man, I know how it sounds. Like I'm pretty self-aware on the levels of stupidity that I'm discussing. But like I got these like fingerless gloves so I could like actually like tap on my phone with mobile while I was like, you know, outside for a walk in the winter.
Wait, was it like the rubber fingertips that react as though it's skin?
No, like
Oh, you actually...
bears. I went bare skin because I like
Yeah.
I did not have success with those, like, you know, like the fake like fingertips. I was like,
Yeah. They get
I
too
gotta
cold,
get the real
I
deal.
think. Yeah. No,
I don't know if it was that or more so like the precise area like on your phone where you're
Oh,
just trying to
yeah.
click. I don't know if that like when you're like dropping fish or logs, if that was like what had.
Yeah, like
But
100%, you just don't have as much accuracy with anything over your fingers. That's true. Yeah, I
yeah, I'd
remember
get
just
like
playing.
little hand warmers and put them inside the fingerless gloves, so to you know generate some kind of heat, so that you know, so that my whole hand's not freezing off. But yeah, like it's stupid, I know, but it was still you know fun to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, I don't know. It's like this mobile. It's like this virtual. It's just this virtual life you have, kind of, and you're always trying to gain on it. That's how I've kind of seen RuneScape recently. It's like my mobile progression. I have my IRL progression that I have like my or I keep saying mobile. My RuneScape progression. It's my online progression. You know, it's like my online life, and yeah. But I do remember just the insane amount of glare. I had a kind of shittier phone back then. And oh my God, like I couldn't even see the tree. I was just guessing. I just click until I started hearing some chopping. And mobile would drain my battery. So I had to turn the brightness all the way down. So there's a reflection of the sun with zero brightness. And I'm just like, okay, guessing until I hear
Did you have your FPS capped?
Yep, 15 or whatever it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, but my phone had like no battery. I had that phone for like 4 years. The battery was just fried.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah, I was never really into mobile. That was just something I was like, I could never truly compete, even at like more of my quote unquote prime, where I was super addicted to this game. And I kind of had that. I had a sort of desire to maybe compete and get, you know, maybe top page potentially for, you know, I don't know. At the time, it seemed a lot more plausible. But yeah, I was just like, I can't do this simply because you basically need to play mobile all the time. It was just like, I don't enjoy this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's definitely some aspects of it that were not fun.
there was a lot of like adapting you had to do if you were a top page player. Methods, mobile, of course. Just anything that would change, you had to jump on it. You couldn't keep doing the slow methods or you're going to get bumped off.
There's the ever-changing dynamics of efficient skilling.
Yeah.
And it certainly, you know, evolved, you know, all the way along throughout the whole way.
Yeah, that was that's crazy because I know in last year's podcast we were talking about XP rates, just how much they've changed since the early days. By the way, do you know how many actual hours Link's Titan put in? Because of course it's gonna keep shortening because, you know.
Yeah. I don't know for sure, but I'd imagine that so from like all the guys that have already completed, we're all like but somewhere between like 20 to like 25K or somewhere ish in that range.
Mm-hmm.
He played a ton, and he had like probably like almost a year span where his account was logged in 24 hours a day. You know, with the combination of like he'd play 18 and then do Guthans for 6.
Yep.
And so it's really hard to say because like, and you know, like for example, you know, like he did solo lavas to 200 mil. That was 3,000 hours. I did, you know, I had lava runners. You know, like I'd have 4 runners for me. It took me less than 1,000. So like just on that skill alone, like he put in 2,000 more hours than I did, and he did a lot of skills that definitely were like slower for the time as well. You know, like agility, he did like Artie, where you know would have took him over 3,000 hours. Now if you do Sepulture, you can get that in 2K.
Yep.
So you know, like there's 1,000 hours there. I think when he did fire making, he had magic logs, which, rather than redwood. So there's a couple hundred there. So, I mean, like, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he had 25K hours. And like something else to consider is for the first like year and a half that he was playing, and he probably put in like 3,000 hours. Because he was initially an alt for his 200 mil all account that he had on RS3. And he was just like rune crafting on that. And I don't know what his rune craft, like, if someone, wants to go to CML, because I think that has, easier to interpret information back in 2013. He very well could have like done like 2,000 hours of like abyss rune crafting before even doing like lavas, because that was what he was doing, like double nats to fund his RS3 account. So like it's very possible he has 5,000 hours on the skill.
That is fucking nuts.
So he's definitely got a lot.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that he probably has more than I do, just because some of the skills that I did, increased after he finished them. The most egregious example of that would be like the rune crafting.
Yeah. I mean, Sepulcher, I know, was definitely a big increase, at least for newer players now that get all to 200 mil just through Sepulcher. I mean, that's like got to be at least a 50% faster increase just on that skill alone. But yeah, I mean, it's nuts how many hours it truly was back then. And Slayer was, God knows how low the XP. I think on release it was like what, in the 20Ks or something like that.
Yeah,
XP.
yeah. The initial rate was either like 22 or 25K.
Sheesh.
And that was, no spawn. Like there were no static spawns. You couldn't skip tasks. You couldn't really teleport anywhere, as you have like the freedom to do now. But yeah, Slayer was like no more than 25K, for the first like year plus.
I watched, somebody had linked in my stream probably a year or so ago. I had never even seen the video, but it's just this video called Skilling on YouTube, and I think it's by yeah. And it just shows...
we had a bunch of I think we did that for a few years in a row.
Yeah.
And then we eventually stopped doing that. But yeah, that was those were at the time like the most extreme methods out there. And a lot of them, were unrealistic for long-term play. But, just like here's the theoretical like max. Type of thing.
It's just cool to, I don't know. I just thought it was really funny just seeing, I don't know. It's very nostalgic. It's like a throwback. And the methods, some of them are relatively pretty easy when you look at the crazy alt usage that we see today and the crazy tick manipulation. But I think the thing that just made me bust out laughing was just using, I think it was an abyssal tentacle on Bloodvelds and Neve's cave with a cannon, just like that tiny. It's just such a throwback. Just like that's EHP right there, meleeing your Bloodvelds. Like
and that was like one of the more desired tasks for the time, which is wild to think about, because this was before they even like moved the Bloodvelds from what was their initial spot. They now have them like moved off to the northeast section. So that's it was a good task back in the day.
Yeah,
man.
Absolutely. I mean, Neve's cave was so cool back then. I mean, it was just such a. I mean, it definitely had private server vibes,
Oh, absolutely.
But it was just like very nostalgic when they removed it completely. I was like, damn, that place will forever have like a place in my heart. Basically, just that whole layout, how just condensed it was with every fucking monster.
Yeah, like cool. in hindsight, it seems like it's just like, I don't want to say lazy, but it was just like, all right, fuck it, let's throw these in here too.
Well,
yeah, these make sense. Throw it in there too.
Yeah, like you think about the lack of game devs they had at the time. I mean, they really couldn't push out things.
It was a very small team. I think at the time that came out, they might have had like 5 people on the team.
Oh yeah, early days it was.
Yeah, Ash, Matt K, Reach, John, Hexis member, and Weth, I think, was the team at the time that Neve's Cave came out.
Jeez. Yeah, I had.
There might have been like another artist, like maybe Alfie or West, but that would have been it.
Was it Ghost? Wait, when did Ghost come on? I know. Well, I don't. Was he earlier than? I don't know the whole JMod history. I think West was later than Ghost though, but
maybe. I mean, I've definitely fallen out of the team's at such a large size now, and I don't pay attention.
Oh, it's
like
massive.
Yeah. I mean, I think I see there's like 30, 40 somewhere around there in terms of like team size. Like the sign off on the bottom. It's like, I remember back when there was like 20, I'd be like, okay, like, are they eventually just ever gonna sign it off as like the Jagex moderator team?
Yeah, it keeps.
Nope. Yeah, we're still gonna put that paragraph down there every time. So like, I mean, I respect it because that does kind of like keep. One thing that you can kind of appreciate about that is that does keep a log of who was on the team at the time that those updates came out.
True.
Which there otherwise never like there would be no documentation otherwise for that.
Absolutely. Okay, so taking a little step back again, I want to ask because previous podcast we were talking about how you had a vacation plan for after 200 mil all where you could just relax, no mobile, just relax. So how was that? And also I want to talk I want to hear just how it was having completed it. What did it feel like?
I guess I'll start first with the vacation aspect. My wife and I went to Mexico. We were there for like 7 or 8 days. We were at like an all-inclusive resort. It was pretty sweet. Just incredible service. We did a whole lot. Just a great week. Didn't, wasn't on my phone. Because I had nothing to do on it.
Did you ever like reach for your phone though? Like, did you?
I don't know if I did, but I would not be surprised if because like we got shuttled, like to and from certain locations. Like we'd whether we'd like go to a beach or like go do some other events. I'm sure I probably like grabbed for it and like opened up the app and said, "Oh, never mind," and set it down.
Oh my god.
But it was a really awesome week. We did like some 4-wheeling on a beach. We went parasailing, I think. That was pretty cool because we're getting to see as we're up in the air, like over the ocean. We're seeing like all these different shades of blue, and it was just like a real cool experience. What else? We did scuba diving. Oh, dude, scuba diving was terrible. That was actually bad. Everything else pretty, not just pretty okay, just pretty great. So let me tell you about this.
Yeah, tell me,
dude. It was bad. So I already wasn't really too hot about the idea of scuba diving, but okay, like my wife wanted to go, so I said, all right, I'll do it. So they give us this scuba gear. And I put on the snorkel. I put on like these like flippers, and I got like my life jacket. And they take us out, and we're in a group of probably like 15, 20 people or something like that. So we go out to like this, I don't know, just probably like maybe like a mile or so like off the beach to this area where there's supposed to be a lot of like marine life. And, everyone, getting off. And then it came like my turn to jump in the water. So I jumped in. When I jumped in, I lost both of my flippers, my life jacket, which I had tied on as tight as it could go. Like that in the water just like went up and started to choke me. And then like I got water that seeped in through like my goggles. It was fucking awful. So then, like, I'm just gonna call him a tour guide. Yeah. He's out there swimming around, and I was like, hey, like, I just lost my flippers. They're falling. And he dives down and he grabs them both, hands them to me. So I'm like, okay, like, all right. I'm gonna hop back in the boat. I'm gonna clear out these goggles. I'll put these back on, and we'll go from there. Yeah. Oh, and I've lathered up in quite a bit of sunscreen here. I burn extremely easy.
Same.
I had SPF 100 plus. that was the level that I put on.
Yeah.
And so I then, I have to, because there's, like the salt water, they had like this, freshwater bucket. So I'm having to dump my snorkel back in there to get, like the salty crap out of it.
Yeah.
Wipe it down, put on my flippers. I go back in and I still get like water in like my snorkel goggles and glass, and I got that thing tied as tight as it, like the sides of my head are hurting. And I this is a brand new like snorkel thing, because my wife was like, oh, there's apparently a lot of people that use the default like snorkel stuff that they give, so we'll just get some ones for us to use, so we're not using some not recycled, but reused ones that have probably been used 100 something times by other people. I said, okay, yeah, pretty good idea. And, I try, like I'm sitting there floating and I'm trying to put like my head, to where I can like actually see underwater, and it just wouldn't work. Like I'd keep getting stuff seeping in, and my life jacket kept choking me. It was awful. And I was like, I'm not going to take this off. Like, I don't know shit about these waters. I'm not going to be that vulnerable. Yeah. So, I'm really trying to, but the whole, like, the one tour guys got, like the whole group of like 15, 20 people, and they're getting a good distance away. And then I'm trying. And then like at this point, I've been fucking around for a couple minutes trying to get my gear set up. And then like now I'm trying to swim to catch up to them. And then I just start like, it was exhausting. And, I just said, like, fuck it, I'm done. And I had to, like, I yelled at the tour guide and I said, hey, get me back on that boat. So then they, threw, like, I wasn't drowning or anything, but they threw like a life preserver thing. Then I just like grabbed onto it. Yeah. And, they like wheeled me in. But like, I was really trying to catch up to these guys, like the tour guys there, who were, a couple minutes of swimming away from me. Oh, and I was getting so exhausted. I already, like, the other stuff that we did that day was great, but that was the one thing that I like already going in wished that we weren't going to be doing. There was some other activity that we could have done instead. I don't recall what it was, but so I'm exhausted. I got water in my goggles a second time. I was pissed off about losing my flippers. The life jacket is choking me. And I gave up. And they threw out that life preserver and like reeled me in. And because, we're in the middle of the ocean, like there was no shade at all. And like I knew, like they still had like an hour and 45 minutes or something that they were still going to be out there.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to sit in this sun for that long just baking. Yeah. I don't care about SPF 100 plus. That's not going to get the job done. It was just a sunny, bright, hot day. So like I had to ask the guy who was like manning the boat. I had to ask if I could go into like their
little cabin or something.
Yeah. Like I was in like a cabin for, like an hour and 45 minutes
paying for it. Oh God.
Yeah, like there's no refunds. That was like 100. I think it was like $100, and I gave up on it after 15 minutes of disaster.
Jesus. Yeah, I'm actually going to Cancun this Christmas for the first time ever.
That's where we were.
Yeah.
I don't recommend snorkeling.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because I think because I'm going to visit my family that I haven't seen in forever, like my parents and everything. But yeah, they all want to do like every activity, but now you're giving me second thoughts about every activity. Maybe just avoid that.
Everything other than that is pretty great. Again, like I don't know what the other activity. It was like we did the parasailing, the like ATVs, the snorkeling, and there was some other activity. I just don't remember what that other one was that we did at that location. Obviously not memorable enough.
That's cool, though, that, like, RuneScape. Like, imagine you're there snorkeling, and you also have to be on mobile. Like, your waterproof phone and everything.
Oh, would have been a disaster. Like
Yeah.
fishing while underwater though would have really been something. Like fishing on
Oh
mobile
yeah, that would have been badass.
or like going for like a seaweed run.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 100% that because you gotta get the flippers on and everything.
Yeah. So it was pretty great though. The service was excellent. Um, we had like a like the like resort that we were staying at. There was like a walkout pool for our room. You know, like that. Like we just walked out and bam, we're in like the big pool. So that was pretty cool. The food was phenomenal. I wish that the portion sizes were a little bit bigger. Like I know, like from a business perspective, yeah, like don't feed these guys all the food and then they,
Waste
because
it. Yeah.
regardless of how much they give me, I've already paid for it. So, probably trying to like definitely I could see that, they're giving like as little as possible to kind of please you. But I mean, I could tell, like I went out of my way to overeat for pretty much every single meal. And I definitely paid for it. Cause like when we got back in that, it was 7 or 8 days, something like that. I got back, I put on 7 pounds in that week. 7 pounds. I mean, that was unbelievable.
You kind of have to, though. I mean, that's the mindset I've always had growing up. I think I'm trying to get that mindset away from me where it's like, don't go. Because as a kid, I mean, it was rare we would go to a buffet or something. But if we ever went, I would go until I puke. Like I'm eating because this is like a once in a lifetime. It felt like. I feel that every single time I go on any vacation or anything, just like I have to treat myself hardcore or it's not going to be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, given that it was like all inclusive, that's why I was like I'm eating everything I can. Like if I'm having to pay, like entree per entree, like or meal by meal, yeah, it's a little bit different. But just given the nature of the vacation, that was kind of a, I'm coming in and eating as much as I can. So yeah, we did that. And we got back. Our flight got delayed while we were on our way back. And like we got back, like I got home at like 10:30. I don't know what time it was that we left in the day. Might have been like early afternoon or something, or maybe around noon. But we did some stuff in the morning as well on our final day there. And I got back at like 10:30, somewhere around that. And then I had to go into work 45 minutes later to do like, a full shift. It was like that was rough.
Jesus. Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah. And like I couldn't sleep on the I couldn't sleep on the plane either. But
that is awful.
Pretty great week though. Pretty expensive. So
have you done?
We ain't doing that. No, yeah. First time that was like I've ever been to like an all inclusive like anything.
That's cool. Was there any vacations in between going for 200 mil all until that point, or was it all just like pretty routine stuff?
Like I mean, we went to Florida a couple times, but that would be like we'd go and I think we went to Disney World twice. And I mean like I'd spend some weekends going to like sporting events like out of state.
Yeah.
Like every a couple times a year. So I mean there were some vacations, but I mean the one that we went on like after I finished was probably the first like thing that other than like a weekend trip to go to like a Vikings game, which I know some, other than that, like that was probably our first vacation in like maybe 5 years, other than like for a sporting event or something like that.
Damn.
So
that's I don't know. I just think that's so that's like a cool celebration to have like finished the game that you've just been on almost a decade grind and then get to just relax for the first time ever, just completely. So, so how many days in between having finished 200 mil all did you go on your vacation? Did you have some days at home where you're like, oh damn, I'm done, I can play other games now and just chill?
I think I had about like 3 weeks. It was like 2 weeks, closer to 2 weeks. In that time, like I did a few things. Like I did some like home renovation things that I had been putting off for for a while. So like I was able to like fill my time for the first couple weeks with like a lot of like things that I had been putting off. So that was fine. Then we got back and I mean I play now a little bit. Nowhere near as much as what I used to. Maybe like 10, 15 hours a week right now, which I I know there's some people like that's still a good chunk, but it's a far cry. It's a far cry from like 50.
Yeah, that's a pretty casual amount. I think most casuals
And
probably
and a lot of and like most of those like I'd probably say like 75% of the time that I'm on right now, it's like full on AFK like for extended periods of time.
So
it's not like I'm tick manipulating or anything of that nature anymore.
yeah, so what do you do on the game? Are you still playing your main account?
Yeah. So I started like after I finished like 200 mil all. Like I started to like think of like what are some AFK things that I could like actually do in this game because like there's still like times where I can play on mobile where you know like there it's either like I can play on mobile or I just sit there doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Not just in game, just like in real life.
Yeah.
So like I started like came to the conclusion that doing Jad runs would be probably like the best thing that I could like start out doing. And it wasn't necessarily like I was pet hunting or anything like that, but I just like started killing Jad. And like I was saving the capes, but I was like, okay, here's a couple hundred kills, here's 300, here's 400. I still don't have the pet. Now I'm like now I'm like rank 4, rank 5. And I still don't have the pet. So like, I mean, even before I reached that point, like I kind of like set like an arbitrary goal, like I'm gonna get rank 1 Jad kills, because it's so AFK. With how my runs are, it's about like 50 minutes for a fight cave where I don't even have to like touch the screen for the first 19 minutes of it.
Yep.
So that's been what I've been doing quite a bit. Although I recently started like killing KBD. That one's very doable like on mobile as well.
Yeah. Just chill.
I've got 4.6k kills in it right now.
No
Do
pet?
not have the pet. No pet.
Damn.
Maybe I'll get lucky on a pet at some point, but I mean, I don't know. Like, as I've been like over the last like 2 weeks, I've almost been thinking like, should I start doing KBD on mobile like when I'm able to, rather than Jad, and like, because like, and I know how stupid this is gonna sound, but like it only be like 400 hours or so for 400 to 500 for rank 1 KBD, which like doing very passively on mobile only would maybe take like a year. I don't know, like
Yeah.
again, like
what are your like so okay, let me phrase 2 questions. You finished 200 mil all. I could imagine it was almost like you are forced to do a certain thing in game for years on end. It's just like, okay, I gotta do this. Now you have unlimited freedom to just choose what you want to do. Are you just pretty much just chilling and like doing things you enjoy that can be AFK'd because you do have like a busy life? Like, are there any like true long-term goals, or is it just kind of like whatever you're thinking of at the time, like going for rank 1 boss kills?
I think right now it's just kind of like whatever I'm thinking at the time. Because like I would say of the, let me see how many Jad kills. I have 757 Jad kills right now.
Okay, I'm gonna look you up.
I've not done much other than that and like KBD so far, but so yeah, like I'm rank 1 Jad kills there. Like of those 700 something, like like I've been using that for like when I've been playing other games, like I'm doing a fight cave on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if I can go like a stretch where I'm 19 minutes not even having to click on the screen.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
good.
at this point it's like I don't know, maybe I'll just do it anyway type of a thing. So yeah, I mean I definitely play out way less than what I used to. But I still have fun playing the game. It's like I got days where like I just couple days a week I'll just decide, I'm not playing, just because I don't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I definitely like I don't think I like logged in for several weeks after like I finished 200 mil all, while I started to work on a bunch of things that like I was putting off. So at this point it's just kind of casual playing, like as long as I'm still having fun. And like when I'm playing other games like on the computer, I'll still try to stay logged in doing really any kind of account progression thing.
Yeah, might as well.
So
So you said you had like basically this list of games that you definitely wanted to try out after 200 mil all.
yeah,
So how
yeah, that
were
list
you
is
like really
pulling
like,
up.
oh my god, like I'm so excited to play these games, or was it kind of like, let me just take a break in general initially? Have you enjoyed some games since though? Like some of those
Yeah, I
games that you
had
wanted to play?
so like of those games, like I didn't start. So like again, like I finished like RuneScape in October with 200 mil all, and like I didn't start playing like any other game. Like I mean, yeah, I wasn't playing RuneScape, but uh I didn't start playing like any of these other games until February was when like I started to play some of these other games on this like on the side. And I've done, I mean, I could tell like it's not a big list that I've like played so far, but I mean, I'll just like briefly just run through the titles of the games so far. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, like the Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption, and like the Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, Doom, and Stray.
Oh
And some of the
yeah.
other ones also has been like Star Wars Galactic Battleground Saga. It's pretty much like Age of Empires, but with like a Star Wars skin on it.
Oh, that's sick.
And like that's really what I've kind of like played so far. Depending on which game it is, I can like as I'm noticing more so now, I can like depending on the game, I can either do like Jad on the side or KBD on the side. So we'll kind of see how. I mean, as long as I'm still having fun doing it, I'll still do it. But albeit it's at it's at a much less accelerated degree than before.
So
Um,
I want to ask. I think I already know the answer, but I want to ask anyway, just for people. Do you have any plan on playing any other game mode on RuneScape, or are you kind of just like not interested? Let me hear your take on that.
I'm not interested. There's a lot of really cool game modes, and like like Group Iron Man came out like either like right before or right as I finished 200 mil all. So like it, I did think about it for a minute. Like,
And then you looked at your wife looking at you, and you're like, "Oh fuck."
I already told her like I was like I can't believe she's okay with me playing like 10, 15 hours a week now.
Yeah.
Um. So I decided not to do a Group Iron
Nah,
Man.
that's probably good though. Group Iron Man kind of flopped. I feel like it's not
Yeah,
that
I mean,
popular.
like, as long as the people that are playing it are having fun with it,
Yeah.
that's what matters.
Yeah.
But no, I got no interest in like making another account or anything like that. Or even like there's a handful of people who have done 200 mil all on old school, and they've now switched over and have started to do 200 mil all on RS3 on that same account. But that not something I have any interest in, dude. Like I had trouble trying to find the log out button on RS3 before.
That game is foreign.
Yeah, like, and that was something that like way back in the day, when there were no bonds in old school, but there were bonds in RS3. So like you could like activate it on RS3 to have it like for your account, and then play it on old school.
Oh yeah.
So that was during the period where I had no idea where the logout button was on RS3.
Oh god. Okay, so here's a little question I have for you. If there were to be a new skill coming into old school, would you compete for it in whatever definition of compete is in your mind? Would you go hard?
I mean, it.
Would you try to? Would you
The
try to
scary-
secure a top page finish? That's, I guess, my real question.
The scary thing is, I don't know, which probably means I'd try. Although I guess like the timing of that would probably more so depend.
Yeah.
If that's a couple years from now, and I have no idea what the future is going to be looking like, but if I have like a kid, and then like, okay, like I shouldn't be putting it all into the game, or anything like that. So I like if it came out right now, maybe.
It would probably be a fast skill too. I mean, I could imagine a new skill coming out being like 250, 300k XP an hour. And buyable, probably. Well, let's be honest.
Yeah, which that's super reasonable. Yeah. In comparison to, because I mean, like the slowest skill we got now, depending is like either Slayer or Agility, and those are like
around
we could
100k.
We could just call it 100k. Yeah. So, like that still is quite a bit. Like that would still take like 2,000 hours. That'd still take me a year. Like of trying to go hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, like I hope that they don't come out with a skill just so I can like it's it's really been like when I have been playing like over the last a year, like it's been pretty fine, like not stressing about anything, like oh, I don't feel like logging in today. All right, no problem. I want to do this today. All right, let's give it a try. So there's definitely very stress-free at this point, and a new skill, whether I'd compete hard in it or not, there'd be a lot of stress just of it.
Yeah, that's the real question. Is I just wonder, do you still have a fire in you? Probably, albeit very small. Do you have still a fire of like, damn, I kind of miss that competition? Or is it just you're just enjoying the coasting, casual gamer lifestyle?
I am enjoying the like casual gameplay. I did have a point, probably a couple months ago, where I was, for whatever reason, I was pretty motivated to like actually get some like more playing in. Trying to see like let me look at my like.
It's like hard to really compete though after you've done something that's something like 200 mil all that does have a finish line. With a lot of bossing, if you're trying to get rank 1, there's just no finish. It's just try to maintain it.
As I'm looking at my, because like on my spreadsheet that I have, like for all these games that I have played, like I have like it's got like the name of the game, platform I played it on, developer, publisher, the date that the game released, the date that I finished it on, and then like a paragraph or so of like what I thought about the game. And it was either sometime between like April 13th and like early June, or sometime between like early June and mid-July, somewhere in that range. And I don't know which, but it was like in between games. Like I had a bunch of alts, still from like when I did Rune Dragons, and the price of blood shards is like 9 mil or something. Because like I've used up a ton of them, doing, because I wear that during my fight cave attempts. Mm-hmm. Like at a certain point, I was like, damn, these are pretty expensive. Like, how much can I get per hour on an alt doing this? And I had quite a bit of Rune Drag accounts that ain't been touched in a couple years. But then, I have like some other, like the requirements to kill Vyres are way less than that of Rune Drag. So I had a couple other accounts that, weren't far off. Like it's kind of like, okay, do a couple quests and, spend like maybe a week in NMZ and you're good to go. So like I, for whatever reason, was just really motivated. I wanted to get like some more money to try and like buy some more gear, because like I'm looking in like the gear Discord and Petcord, and they're they got like setups that are like full decked out and like all Torva, and like I don't even know what the name of these van braces are for range, but they're like 200 mil. And I'm like, Who like, dude, like I got a few bill, but not enough for like nowhere near enough for like max. Like I think like full, all gear, all everything. Like I think I'm like 4 or 5 bill short of that. Like right now, let me. I got a spreadsheet gear cost. Loading up right here. So given the items that I'm currently missing, it is 4.8 bill to bank it all.
Jesus. There is so
And-
much stuff you need, though. I mean, if you wanted to get like full Torva and full Inquisitors, and by the way, Raids 3 items coming out in like a week,
yeah,
which are going to be
so
fucking
who knows
mega
what that?
bills. Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows what that that sheet's gonna be looking like then? But
I know you're not a raider, but like, do you have any plans for Raids 3 to just like mess around at all? It's
no, I don't. I mean, like I've looked at like the content of what it's gonna be, and I'm sure like there's no doubt like that thing's probably gonna be like 20, like for good RNG, it's probably gonna be like 20 mil an hour for the first like couple weeks or even month. But like I know that I'm not good enough at PVMing to...
That's kind of the cool thing, though. I think they're well, first of all, I think it will be able to be soloed, but there's like invocations, so like the beginning level of it just going in is going to be relatively easy. You just build your way up, sort of. But that again, that's more for like those PVM enthusiasts. I'm not sure how enticing that is.
Yeah, I mean, if it's easy or not easy, but if it's definitely doable for like here's the thing, like I don't want to join a team of PVMers who if every single one of them is gonna have more experience and be better than me, and then just have me just drag them down. Like it. I don't want to hurt the team, and I'd rather do a different activity on my
100%.
own than make it a negative experience for other people due to my lack of skill.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, like I'll try to get around to getting good enough at people. Like I've done a couple raids, and by a couple, like maybe 3 or 4 of like raids 1.
Yeah.
And I've only died like one time like each run, but I mean it's still learning. I try like an Inferno run. I think I got to like wave 10. Like
those blobs are a bitch.
I didn't read any guides or anything going into it either. It was just like, it was a blind run.
Yeah,
but,
no, it definitely takes...
I got like a few thousand Zulrah kills, and I guess like doing that at this point, the extent of my PVMing capabilities.
Mm-hmm. That's the real thing. It just comes down to like desire. Like, do you even have the desire to start, pounding difficult bosses over and over? Because a lot of people really do have that drive. Just they want to do stuff like that.
Yeah, and like there's a ton of really good PVMers, and like the PVMing content that there's so much of it as well that you could spend thousands of hours experiencing all the PVM content that there is in the game, which is really cool. And to like get good at everything, like that, from sitting where I'm at, like that seems like a monumental task that is, definitely commendable by people who are able to do everything so well.
Yeah. I just see like, I don't know, your account is it's like in a really cool... have you ever been interested in collection logging at all? I don't know if you're like interested in any of that, because there is kind of a high scores for that sort of. There's a third-party site that tracks the top collection loggers.
Yeah, I did see the site and like the plugin that goes with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who rank 1 is, but I saw like Casey's rank 2.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I don't like, if clue scrolls... I'm sorry. Don't hate me.
You're good. You're good. I already heard this. Go
if
for it.
clue scrolls were not included in the collection log, I think that would be something I'd be interested in.
A lot of people share that opinion.
If rather than getting every third age, if it was just get one third age item, or like get a third age item, or get a rare drop table, or I don't even know exactly how it works, 4 clues ever.
Yeah.
But like if it was, I mean, like I spent 20,000 hours getting 200 mil all, and I'm telling you, like that, like it's unrealistic to accomplish.
Oh yeah, no, like
so it's
that's sort of the beauty, at least in my opinion, is that there is such a massive RNG window of like, okay, nobody's going to complete the collection log, in my opinion, unless, again, somebody gets god tier RNG and plays as much as Hey Jason consistently. Like, Hey Jace is probably going to be rank 1 collection logger. That's my opinion in like 3 years from now, because he does enjoy clue scrolls and he's already done 30,000 hard clues. I mean, if you enjoy clues, you will eventually, and you play a lot, you'll eventually be like one of the top, because rank 1 collection logger Dodo, that dude, or no, not Dodo, what's his name? Basiligus. That's what I'm thinking of. Not Dodo. I was thinking of the Sarachnis guy. Basiligus hates clue scrolls. He's doing them because he feels obligated to keep his rank 1 spot, but he absolutely despises it. But I think there's something kind of beautiful, because you don't have to go for the clue scrolls. You can get to like a really high number without it and be in the top, whatever. If that also takes a lot of hours, and there's a lot of really tedious things to do, by the way, that's not clue scroll related. But I kind of like the idea that there's not going to be a first place. It's always going to be this little competition that's just cutting the little, I don't know. I feel like in 3 years from now, we're going to be down to like 10 people that are like 20 slots away. And so like one slot is just monumental, just passing people one slot by one slot.
Do you know how many hours, like if they removed like all clues, or like how long like the collection long? Because I know that there is, like I've seen, and I don't even remember what the numbers that I saw, but it was like calculations based on like average RNG, what it would take to like finish the collection log, or
I don't
like all third age or something like that. And I don't remember what that number was.
I'm not sure exactly like minus clue scrolls. I know it's very possible, because Basiligus rank 1 has already basically done it. I think the only thing he's missing really is like one nightmare item, Jar of Darkness, which is basically a third age piece, and then just
Who drops
age. Scotiza, like just Jar of Darkness. It's just that bitch of a grind. I don't know if you ever sent your totems or you just never picked them up or whatnot, but
I still got them sitting in the bank.
You should hold on to those. Just hold on.
There's like 900 or so.
Yeah, hold on to those, because I think they're gonna eventually update it. I'm talking years from now, potentially, to making the Jar of Darkness a bit more common, because it's a 1 in 2,500 drop right now, which is unreal. Because you got 200 mil Slayer and now we have 900.
Yeah, I mean, like you'd have to do. And I mean, like, I didn't do Abyssal Demons because, like, back when I slayed, the Abyssal Demons were in a really bad place, like, population-wise.
Yeah.
But, like 200 mil Slayer, and I didn't even have, like, 1,000 of them.
Yeah, I mean, rank 1 Scotizo doesn't even have the drop rate to the Jar of Dark. Nobody in the entire game has hit drop rate for it.
I mean, you'd have to do like, feels like, I guess with that, like over like 400 mil Slayer XP.
Yeah, you would. It's either that or you just sit at Necreals or something and just barrage them over and over and over, just AFK basically with an alt. I mean, just collecting totems.
Sounds miserable.
Oh yeah, hella miserable. I've been offering little alternatives, just little ideas that I've been thinking of. I was thinking of like a mini gauntlet or something down in Zaya Catacombs somewhere where it's more totem focused, so it's like a sort of mini game where you can just get totems a bit quicker. But who knows what they're gonna do with that? It's rare though. But yeah, hours wise, it's not an insane amount. I mean, it still is. You have to complete all bosses, obviously, get all pets, which is obviously a lot of hours on its own. I think that's like 5,000.
Is that like 4?
Yeah,
4 or 5? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And then the rest of the collection log, you would get passively through those pets, and then you just got to AFK some mini games. It's less than 200 mil all. I know that, hours wise. Yeah. Because what? Isn't 200 mil all like 12,000 hours right now or something? I don't know what it is.
I mean, EHP's in a pretty fucked place until no one's cleared it under 20k hours. So, like, regardless of like what EHP says it is.
Yeah, like those are absolutely max efficient rates. But
yeah, and I've got a lot of disagreements about like how EHP is, but
yeah, realistic rate to get 200 mil all, that's way slower than completing all collection log minus clue scrolls. Clue scrolls though, I mean, legit, I think it's over 100,000 masters you have to do just to like get
Oh
on
my
rate for all
God.
third age pieces. And like rank 1 Masters is Casey with 6,000, and he spent years doing that, getting them basically donated to him, like the Dragon Imps.
Jeez.
Like that is like, yeah, you could get extremely lucky and finish it in 10K, but that will just not happen. It's too rare. It's nuts. But it's kind of exciting because just knowing that it is, theoretically completable, but you won't. It kind of just keeps the grind going. Plus, new collection logs are being added every, few months.
Yeah.
Little
I,
mini games.
I just wish it was at I wish it was at an achievable point. I mean, like, whereas, like you're looking at like 200 mil all, which, 20K hours is what you're realistically going to be looking at. Like, you at least know, like, okay, I'm training this skill, getting this XP up until this point. Like, I will achieve. Whereas there's just too much third age RNG. And it's like, okay, I could be here. Here's 1,000 hours that I've done, and I have nothing to show for it. No progress.
I know.
So that's tough.
Yeah.
I just really wish that everything else besides clue scrolls would be real cool. Because that's still a ton of time to put in.
And just so much variety too.
The clue scroll stuff just makes it so unattractive. Where
that's fair. The clue scrolls are really attractive to me. I think partly because of a lot of people thinking it's unattractive, so it's almost like I'm playing not devil's advocate, but whatever the other word is, just like the hipster inside of me that's like, "Oh, you guys hate it? I'm going to fucking love it more,"
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was wondering if you were ever going to maybe go for some collection log stuff. But
yeah, like it would be not like I'm not, and I don't see myself ever doing so. And that's just, I hate to say like it's just so unrealistic.
It is. It's completely unrealistic. I don't think anybody will ever complete it in even in the next like 30 years. I don't think it's possible. We'll see though, because it is RNG. Like you said, somebody could just go absolutely nuts on it, but they'd also have to play tens of thousands of hours just to get that really good RNG too.
Yeah.
So you said previously before we were recording that this year's been pretty hectic, at least IRL wise. And for those that don't know, Randalicious is a cop. And last episode, by the way, it will be linked in the description, so go check out the previous episode. The great cop stories, funny as fuck. I want to ask you, has there been anything recently that's something you would like to share related to real life? Yeah.
I guess like the biggest thing that I did in the last year, there was some guy who probably did like confirmed like 7 or 8 burglaries of gas stations. He'd and I'm just talking smash and grab like at midnight, like type like overnight kind of things. He'd get like a empty trash can, and he'd like break through like the glass doors like to these gas stations, and he would just swipe as many like cigarettes into the trash can as he could, and then he'd get out and be gone before like 2-3 minutes in and out type of a deal. So this guy did it probably like 7-8 times in the in the general within like, I'll call it like, if you were to just be out on a casual drive, like within like 30 minutes. So like there's definitely a ton of gas stations within like a half an hour bubble in any direction. But it was enough to where it's like, okay, maybe we should start paying attention to this guy. And he was driving a very distinct kind of vehicle. I'm not gonna, but it had multiple colors on it, and it's wild. Like it was I don't know what day of the week it was on or anything, but with how my sleep schedule was, I took a nap before before I went into work, and I said to it was either before I took the nap or after I took the nap, I said, I'm going to try to catch that guy tonight. And shift's going on, probably about an hour or so into the shift. And I thought that I saw the vehicle. Like, our gas stations were fine, but I thought that I saw it. I wasn't able to like get back around though to like see if it was it. I don't know if I maybe scared him off or he saw. I don't know what, but I thought that I saw him. And then about 15 minutes later, neighboring agency saw him. They tried to like stop him, and he initially was going to get out when they like lit him up. So the car he was in was a stolen car as well.
Oh, geez.
But they tried making a stop on him, and given the totality of those circumstances, they attempted to do a high risk stop on that. What that is you've got multiple cops who are standing behind like cover or concealment of their vehicle, and they are using like the loudspeaker and ordering the person out of the car and like walking back to them, so they can be taken into custody that way. And they were in the process of attempting to do that, and this guy like got out of the car, but then he got back in and then fled.
Oh, geez.
And he started fleeing like towards me, and I had me and like another guy who at the time when they called this out on the radio, me and this other guy were like, oh shit, like this is 7 minutes, however, like this is pretty close to us. And when they start fleeing, they start coming in our direction, and we're like, oh god. So we both go like to the road that the guy's fleeing on. And the one guy, my partner, well, he's in a different car, but like the other guy I'm with, he sets up these stop sticks. So what these are, pretty much like tire deflation, like tools. You throw it out, you pull it in front of a car, they go over it, it pops their tires. So he sets up with that, and I set up a little bit a little bit in front, or I guess behind him technically, to like then chase the guy, because this guy is going really fast. It's raining. Guy's going like 100 or so, but so the other guy, so like given the situation, like the other guys who started that pursuit weren't like right on him as the guy like started coming by, and so the guy, the other guy I'm with, he like he puts the sticks out there, and then he pulls them in front, and he gets the guy's tires, and he pops.
Oh,
I don't know
damn.
I don't know how many of the tires, but then he's still, and he flies by me still, whoom, and then I hit my lights and siren on, and then I'm in pursuit of him, and we're in the rain. We're going over like 100 miles an hour, which what is that for the 100 is that it's over like 160 kilometers per hour for the other listeners in the rain. And I mean, like that it was definitely like high speed. Like this is a guy that's 7-8 burglaries that we know of, can confirm, stolen car. There's a lot, fleeing from police. Like, so we're going to pursue this vehicle a little, and we've like deflated a tire or two or more. So this is one that we're going to pursue a little bit more than a vehicle that we have very little information on. So I'm pursuing him for a few miles, and he turns off the road. And at this point, I've got another guy that's caught up to me, and the guy starts to slow down. The other guy that's with me, he's getting ready to do, it is called a pit technique, which is a pursuit intervention technique. Pretty much you like hit the rear quarter panel of the fleeing vehicle at a safe speed, slow speeds. The rear quarter panel of the other car, and it's supposed to spin them out.
Mm-hmm.
And end the vehicle portion of the pursuit. So he was getting ready to get up on the side to do that, and the guy slammed on his brakes to like prevent that from happening.
Jesus.
And then like he tried getting out of his car, so he opened up the door, smashes against the other guy's car. He can't get out that way, so he drives forward a little bit more, and then he jumps out the passenger side, and he starts running. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm running. The other guy's running, and we're in foot pursuit of this guy here now, and just happened to be where we were within probably 20 seconds of us like on foot running. There's like a river that's there, and this was like, I don't know what the water temperature was, but like the air temperature was like in the 40s. So that's really is it was really cold. So he jumps in the river, starts trying to swim away. I jump in the river after him and start swimming, trying to catch him. And
is it like a shallow river, or is this like legit deep?
If I had to estimate, it was probably like 4.5 feet.
Okay. Oh God.
5. So I'm trying to swim after him. He's swimming. But I got all my gear on and shit.
Yeah.
And
what happens to like your weapons? Like, does that like fuck them up? Okay, go for it.
So I'm trying to swim after this guy, and I pretty quickly am able to establish this water is so cold. I am not closing any distance trying to swim after him here.
Yeah.
I've got like 30 pounds of gear or however much it weighs. This ain't it. Like this is not how we're gonna get this guy. So then I swam back like ashore, and we then the guy we had to get we're calling all. So I call on the radio, hey, he's swimming, and then I go in after, but we had like, given the temperatures that it was at, like this guy was pretty close to like almost like drowning just from like hypothermia and just being like too physically weak to us because it was so cold.
Yeah.
And I was only in there for not even a minute, and I was pretty cold, real wet, and this guy was in there maybe 10 minutes or so. I don't know, something like that.
Was he like swimming downstream or something, or was he just trying to cross it?
Downstream.
Damn. Okay.
And like he eventually hit a point to where like he could not move anymore.
Fuck.
We got the fire department. We're getting like we are like we're getting to a point where like we are preparing for a water rescue of this guy, like if he goes down.
Mm-hmm.
And we got like devices that we use to get out there, but depending on how I've never seen them used, so like it might have had to have been guys like going out there swimming and grabbing them. But he eventually then like surrendered himself and like walked on shore. But like his body was so physically weak, like he couldn't even stand up due to like the intense levels of it. So then like I went back, changed into a dry pair, like a dry uniform, and like I checked all my equipment, and the one thing that was not working was the taser that I had.
Ooh.
That was done.
Fried. Does your like gun still work? Like I'm ignorant toward guns. It's still totally fine.
Yeah, I mean like I did a cleaning of it afterwards,
mm-hmm.
but I mean like I threw like the stuff that could like like the leatherware stuff and the belts, like I threw that in the dryer to do, but
okay, I have a question. I know nobody would do this in this situation, but what if you were to be tased in a river? Like, would that like kill you? Like, would the water like doing it, if your taser did work and you like tase somebody that's in water, would that like really fuck them up?
We have just been told never to do it.
Yeah, that sounds dangerous as hell.
Yeah.
Okay. Sheesh.
So, the electronic control device, that was the only thing that I had that was dysfunctional afterwards.
So I just have a question, like more of like a human aspect of this story. Like, so I would never want to be a cop, first of all, because like I would hate to chase after a potentially dangerous guy that could end my life potentially in situations. But like, you jumping into a river, do you even think twice before doing it, or is it just like your duty and you're just like, I gotta do this basically? Or are you like somebody else go in like I don't know.
I mean, like there was another guy with me there. He didn't go in. And I'll tell you, like, looking at it now, like that was the right decision. Like you can't outswim the radio.
Yeah.
So like it was almost like I was a dog chasing a ball
Yeah.
that got thrown. Like I didn't even think about it. I just like, called out on the radio, he's swimming, and I jumped in after him.
Damn.
So that yeah, it was just more so.
At least you didn't eat lo mein beforehand.
Don't think I got around to my lunch break yet on that day.
Oh God. Any other cop stories? I want to ask about some good old school memories as well, because I know my listeners love that. Are there any other cop stories before we move on though?
I mean, like in recent months, that was probably the biggest thing that like from like a storytelling point of view.
If you don't mind me asking, I'm just curious, what is your average day now where it comes to like police duty? I mean, do you just like sit in a cop car and just kind of like patrol stuff, or like what is your average thing, if you can talk about it?
Like I'm midnight patrol. Okay. Like a lot of the things that I do are like self-initiated activity, but we get like calls for service as well. I could tell you, like today, for example, we had, there's like this neighbor called. They thought that their neighbor's house was being burglarized. They thought this because they knew that their neighbor was out of town, like on vacation. And there were people like in a truck moving, like taking things out of the house that she said, we're not the, like that's not the, like the homeowner. So, we went there for that. And, the guy he got home from his vacation yesterday and he like purchased a new mattress. So the people that were taking stuff in and out of the house were, people that, were taking like the mattress, the bed frame and stuff like that out of the house and throwing it in their truck. And they then, put in a new mattress as well. But, the person called thinking that, so, I mean, that's a good neighbor, noticing that and calling about it. But like that, for example, was like a call that I had to respond to earlier today. Got on scene and like they said it's a truck with no markings on it. So I thought like, okay, this is probably like a pickup truck without a license plate on it or anything like that. I show up on scene and it's like a big yellow moving truck. Like, admittedly, it doesn't have any branding on it that you can see, but like it's a full, like huge moving truck. And the homeowner was on scene, but we had burglaries where, like legit ones. So, I mean, good on the neighbor to like call about that. So, but like, I mean, that was just like a call, but like a midnight patrol for the most part. Sometimes it's very busy. Sometimes there's not a lot of activity, and you'd kind of get that pretty much at like any like midnight type of thing. It's either everything's going down or people just aren't out on that given day.
I think that's pretty chill. I mean, for the most part, I know you got to like probably inspect certain areas and stuff, but like, I don't know, that seems pretty chill. Do you enjoy the nighttime shift, or is that like what you would prefer?
Yeah, like it's the only like shift that I've ever done like for a long period of time. Like every year we can sign up for what shift we want based on seniority. Mm-hmm. But like for me, I'm at a point to where it's either like I work the afternoon shift or like I work the afternoon shift or I work like the midnight shift, and I pick midnight every time.
That's cool. I think I'd probably choose that as well if I was in that position. Back when I used to like actually work a normal job, I actually really enjoyed the midnight shifts. But that was more like when I was a real D-gen. I mean, you have your life somewhat together. I feel like at that point I'd probably prefer to like be awake in the daytime, but it does seem pretty chill. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like the one thing that I really like about like the midnight shift, like from a real life perspective, is depending on the day, like I could like flip my sleep schedule. Like say I want to do something in the morning or like around noon, like depending on the day, I'll either like go to bed. I'll go to bed at like 9:30 a.m. Get up around like 4 or 5, or I'll go to bed at maybe like 3 or 4 p.m. and get up at like 11.
Hmm.
So like whether I want to do something in the morning or I want to do something in the night, I usually can just change my shift or change my sleep schedule accordingly to accommodate with that. So that's I guess one positive.
So let me ask you, post 200 mil all, have you picked up any hobbies besides gaming that you were wanting to maybe pick up uh, during your grind, but you weren't able to?
Um, I mean, I don't know if I would say it's a hobby, but like I've done a lot more like housework in terms of like like I painted a couple rooms. I like renovated like this storage probably like this 15 by 15 area for storage that we have. Like I renovated the storage room. I like built like the gym that I now have. Like a couple weeks ago, I did a whole lot in my garage, like organization wise, cleaning and stuff. And now like I'm trying to, work like I want to redo my back patio area, and I'm not I'm probably not good enough to like do that landscaping on my own, but I mean, I guess I've just kind of been more involved with doing things of that nature. I don't really know if I'd say like there's any like new particular hobby or anything,
Hmm.
but maybe just I guess more busy work with my hands other than like, that I otherwise wouldn't do, such as like renovation type things.
Here's a topic actually I'm looking at on Twitter that kind of relates to this, put into better words, I think. Well, PLM asks a few things we've already covered. How did the week slash 2 weeks after achieving 200 mil all feel? How are the side hustles going along? Previous cast talking about getting fun money, which we did talk about, and I'm actually curious on that. Any upgrades to the home gym since last cast? You said there have been a little bit. And did you manage to max the alt before 200 mil all on the main?
Okay,
I'm
I'm
gonna link.
probably gonna
I'm
need
gonna link.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
probably
link
need
this for you.
yeah. All right, very good.
There you go.
Pull it up. So, yeah, I mean, like the 1 or 2 weeks after 200 mil all was, pretty relieving not having the stress, because, like my last year between like mobile and PC, like I'm certain I played like more than 3,000 hours my final year of 200 mil all. Like it, like I definitely had like periods where like, given the year, like it, I had like a couple year stretch where it was probably only like 1,500 hours, but like the last year definitely was quite a bit, like probably like 3K or more. So getting able to like just have be stress free was just really great. The side hustles going along, the fun money. So I was looking at doing like a small business of like online, and I was not having fun with that. In addition to, I felt like the time that I'd have to commit to doing that
Mm.
just was not worth it. Um, so I started a little bit, but you know, I ultimately decided it wasn't worth it in terms of like the fun. I sign up for a lot more overtime now, as opposed to like I can tell you, like I've signed up for more overtime in the last 6 months than I did in probably like the previous like few years prior to that. Um, like I'm in a stretch right now where I'm working, I think like 13 out of 14 days, and six of which are like 12-hour shift overtime kind of ones. So I've found that to be a little bit more, you know, preferable as opposed to trying to do like some online stuff.
That's fair. Uh, any significant upgrades to the home gym?
I got this really nice. I don't know what the progress was last year, um, compared, when we last talked, but I've got like I got a new elliptical, in there, which is like really nice. I had one that was pretty junky, but this one is, super nice. Um, which has been good. Aside from that, I think that everything now is at like a real good point to where I don't think I'll be, swapping in or out anything like for an extended period of time.
A home gym just sounds so nice. If like you have the funds to just really create what you're envisioning, that sounds so great. And especially in a home of your own,
Hmm.
like
I
rather
think that
than
I
some
made
apartment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I made the most out of the room that I have, which again, it's not a big room. I don't know, it might be like 10 by 10, 12 by 12, something like that. But I feel like I definitely got like the most out of the space that's there as I could, which was, kind of fun to see the progress of that. Because there was like quite a few things that I had to do in the room. I don't know what the previous people used to use it for, but I had to take out like a sink. There were some shelves in there that were really junky and like you wouldn't even use them for like actual storage. I took those out. Um, the flooring in there was pretty bad. I took that out, and then I repainted all the walls in there. I laid down new floor. Put in a ceiling. The ceiling, was kind of open and exposed before. That I was more so. I did very little of the actual ceiling. Everything else, pretty much 100% everything else. But the ceiling, I really didn't do much at all, like a drop ceiling. Um, and then like installed like some different like a different light fixture in there, and we hung up like this big mirror onto like concrete. So that was a experiment, getting that in because that mirror is probably like 20 pounds or something.
Hmm. Do you have any other
But
big renovation plans at all, or are you just kind of like chilling for right now?
just chilling for right now, and probably I don't know if I'll do anything next year, but the next big thing that I just want to do is just like redoing my back patio area.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the upgrades to the gym, I think that I'm at a point where I'm probably not going to be buying anything anymore for it. I like the how it is and how the progress there has been going. Did I manage to max the alt before 200 mil alt? I did not. I kind of just like hit a point to where I felt like it, like because the last like bit that I was doing was I was doing volcanic mine and two tick wood cutting of teaks. And I could have absolutely done a lot of made a lot of progress on mining, but or while I was mining, but like I did 99 mining on my alt like with my main simultaneously. But then after that I just like didn't feel like doing anymore. So I've not maxed it. It's let me see where I'm sitting at right here. I guess I've got 2200 total level on it.
Okay, that's pretty
The
decent.
the two time commitment wise biggest things that are in the way is I got to do 80 to 99 Slayer, and then
Uh,
86 to 99 Hunter. Everything
okay.
else could be done. Everything else could be done relatively quickly.
Have you ever done
Um,
herbivore?
uh, not really. Like,
Well, I don't know if you're a fan. I'm assuming you're a fan of chins. Isn't that what you did to 200 mil on Randalicious?
yeah, it is. For Hunter though, like on the alt, I've been doing it a little bit more, like over the last couple weeks, but like I probably went a couple months without even playing on it at all. Like,
Mm.
let me check here. I've got from like I don't know, maybe like looks like from March to like what's this here? March to June. Uh, I did like what was for me like because of how slow the agility was. Probably put in like 150 hours of like agility and let's see, with Hunter, like Monkey Hunter being really slow XP at low rates, I don't know, like 3 mil XP on that. I don't know if that'd be like 50 hours, 40 hours somewhere. So I mean, and like I finished off like it's not been much. Um, but I'm hoping to Still eventually get that because like I was like hunting on it a couple days ago, and I would still like to max it. Just not putting in much work on it because really when I've been playing for the most part, like what I've been doing is like Monkey Hunter while I've been like doing Zulrah.
Yeah. Hell
But
yeah. I've actually
yeah,
never
not
done Monkey Hunter, but it sounds so chill because Hunter is one of my least favorite skills.
yeah, it's very little attention required, and like using like the RuneLight plugins, you can have your screen flash when you
Yeah.
need to interact with it. So that's pretty good in that way. So the it's almost like you're doesn't even feel like you're playing, but I'll definitely have to do some actual playing though for the Slayer.
All right. Here's a topic. Might be a little bit harsh, but Furry Wall asks. Oops, let me actually get the tweet up. As someone who lives a couple hours from the Vikings, how can you handle the constant disappointment? And I'm just going to preface right now, I'm not a sports person. I used to because I would just, be with people that were into it. But now, as I've grown older, I just kind of fell out of the whole sports scene in general, basketball, football, you name it. But yeah.
Well, I still watch every game. I watch most of the videos that they post, like on their social media with the progress. I watch pretty much every interview that Kirk Cousins, who's the starting quarterback, and what is now Kevin O'Connell, the new head coach. I pretty much watch every interview that those guys have. I I'm hopeful about this upcoming season. Getting rid of Mike Zimmer, who was previously the head coach, I think was a huge upgrade for the Vikings. I guess they like put in like for people who don't watch American football. I guess like I'll try to break that like the biggest issues with the team over the last couple of years, which were disappointing. Um, so in the game there are two different halves. Uh, During the final 2 minutes of each half, like the end of the first half and the end of the game. So, the Vikings head coach was like, he's a defensive guy. Like he calls all the defensive plays. He runs the defense. And the defense for a few years was very good, and the Vikings were in the playoffs multiple times. But or like the last 2 years. So 2 years ago, the Vikings set the record for most points ever allowed in the final 2 minutes of the half,
Oh
whether
my
it be the first
God.
half or the second half. Because like, when it came down to where it's like, okay, this other team needs to score before the time runs out. You got to make a stop. And the Vikings in 2020 allowed the most points ever in the final 2 minutes. Which like you're not gonna win games doing that,
Yeah.
So
How many did
that
they
was
allow in 2 minutes? But for
I don't
the
remember
you're saying like the most in NFL like history?
history. Every team of every season
Oh
that
my
there's
God.
ever been,
What a
the
fucking record.
2020 defense was the worst in the last 2 minutes of all time. And they still like they were
Oh,
7-9.
Okay. So you're saying over a season, not like a particular game.
Oh yeah, no, not a
Okay,
particular
I was
game,
thinking a game
but
for
like
initially, but
it
overall,
it was
Jesus.
it was pretty much the final 2 minutes of the game or final 2 minutes of the half. The other team has the ball, they are going to score, which was just awful. In 2020, the Vikings were 7-9, which it's amazing that they still were able to win 7 games with that in mind. Let me look at their schedule here. They lost 1, 2, 3, 4. Like they had 4 games that they pretty much blew on like the last, like on the last play or so, like that. And they started out the year with 1 win and 5 losses.
Mhm.
But so we go into the next season. The Vikings make some different changes, and the Vikings' defense in the final 2 minutes of the half improved. And by improved, I mean they beat their own record and was the worst 2-minute defense in NFL history in 2021, surpassing the year before, which is unbelievable. They lost the first game of the they lost the first game of the season on the final play in overtime. They lost in week 2. Their kicker missed a field goal as time expired. In week 4, they lost by 7. They had an opportunity in the first half to score and they couldn't, and then they missed a touchdown on the final play of the game. Pretty bad. They lost like in week 8 to the Cowboys on the final drive of the game to a backup quarterback. They lost the next week against the Ravens, in overtime on the final play of the game. And I mean, like, they just every close game possible, they lost. Like, they would not win a close game. The only if they'd win, it'd, be a very strong win. So yeah, last year was pretty frustrating, and they fired their coach. And I'm hopeful that the new guy is going to be able to, steer things around, because if the defense can be average, and that's all I'm asking, give me average, because we have been bottom 5 each of the last 2 years.
So when a coach gets fired like that badly, I mean, do they have any chance of going to like another team to coach, or are they just like fucked?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, a lot of coaches are, a lot of coaches will be fired and then they'll get picked up in another place.
But
not often that they get hired as a head coach, but maybe they'll become one of the coordinators for the team. Yeah, they'd be an assistant. And then then they work themselves back up. Sometimes they don't. But that's an example of but the Vikings coach is in his late 60s. He's probably done, just doesn't want to, because he probably just doesn't want to do it anymore.
Okay.
So it's been very disappointing, and hopefully this year's different.
All right, here's a question. I'm not positive if you're aware, but Hebox Yonga and JCW, two pretty big skillers in the community, have been competing on YouTube for the fastest max cape speed run, and I'm pretty sure everything's or there's nothing off limits. I think they can use alts for everything. I don't know if you're even aware of these series. Is that the case?
Yeah, I did see it. I think it's a really cool idea. It's interesting that two guys who, based on their builds, finished 200 mil all and still got that drive to want to max another account in that kind of fashion as well.
Yeah, not even casual, just even more intense, arguably.
Yeah. The thing about that I appreciate is that, it's all about in-game play time rather than, let's see if we can max in a month or 2 months. I mean, it'd probably be 4 or whatever, but, something like that. So pretty much it is who is the most efficient ever, well, given current modern day methods. So that'll be real interesting to see because, there's so much that go into it, the amount of quests, how many of them are actually necessary, so there's
so much
there's
planning.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be a lot more micro efficient doing something like that. It's not it's not ass in chair. It's more strategic, and it's more okay, I'm logged in. I have to be going hard right now.
Yeah. So I don't think that I would have fun doing that.
I don't think I would either. I mean, simply the fact that it's not enjoyable grinds. There's just constant. I mean, you basically have to. I mean, okay, well, what I'm trying to think is what goes along with birdhouse runs, because I feel like you wouldn't even train Hunter. In fact, you'd probably want to drag out maxing as long as possible, so all of your Hunter is done through some birdhouses and stuff like that. And little things like that kind of stress me out. Even with farming, it's you just got to do the best trees, just consistently, and I don't know, just be super micro with everything. Although there's only really 2 players competing, JCW and Hebox. I wonder if anybody else is going to jump on that. I doubt anybody would have the skill level for it, just knowledge and
because really, based on these two, the market that for someone to, I guess, compete in that is someone who is no longer playing on their main and is good enough to where they can be competitive in it.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, like the pool that we have so far is just people who have completed 200 mil all with their account build on their accounts. So like that eliminates quite a pool if that's the type of players that find interest in competing like that. I think it'll be real cool. The fact that they're both doing it makes it, like it's better for both of them that they're both doing it.
Yep. Hebox's YouTube channel blew up. I mean, he had just stated like, thank you guys for, I think it was like 2K subs or something like that. He's almost pushing 20K now, and it's been like a month.
20K, holy crap! I didn't know he was like at that.
Oh, I mean, his first episode had over 150,000 views. His first episode.
Crap.
Yeah, so there truly is a desire to watch that stuff. I mean, I'm into it as well, but
yeah, because I mean, that's content that realistically no one's ever done before.
It's not even like nobody's ever done it, but it's simply like nobody wants to do that. They just want to watch it. Like I personally would hate that. Like just, oh God, I gotta like sweat for 1,000 or so hours.
Yeah, let's see. So I'm looking at the first one here. 160K views. That is nuts for a first video,
and from a small YouTube channel, relatively. Like,
yeah. That's amazing.
No marketing whatsoever. Just fucking upload.
Yeah. And the next one, 69K, and it came out one 2 days ago, and that's got 50K. So yeah, those views are booming.
Yeah,
business is good.
Business is booming. No, but that really does inspire me because it sometimes it almost feels like, at least for me, I'm a content creator, it feels as though, a lot of ideas have already been used, and it's kind of hard to grow a channel at this year, like just the more time goes on, it always feels like, oh, I should have started earlier or something like that. But then you see examples like this, you're like, it's never too late to come out with a cool idea. And now it's still RuneScape related. It's somewhat, it's not even like that creative of an idea. It's just speedrunning. Speedrunning's always been huge though.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting. I wonder if there's, I don't know. It just gets me excited for the future, just knowing like channels can still absolutely pop off from nothing, just with a cool idea and some dedication.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Here's a good question. I don't know if we ever really touched on this last year, but I got you on that. Here's one. It's from Second Base, and he asks, do any of your friends know you play RuneScape? And if so, do any of them truly understand the extent of what it means to get 200 mil all? Like players that kind of know, I don't know. People that understand at least like how many hours that truly is.
Yeah, I mean, like every, like real life friend that I have knows that I, put in a ton of hours, and like I don't know if they can really like my closest friends, like understand the because I got a few friends who did play RuneScape, and they stopped playing for whatever reason it may be. Everyone has their own reasons, and they keep seeing, oh, he's still, oh, he's on a 40 week. All right, he's still going. And, like there's a lot of people, like I would say pretty much every friend that I have knows that I play, or at least, and played extreme amount when I was, really putting in the work. And of like truly understanding the extent of what it means to get 200 mil all, maybe only a couple of them really know. Like,
it's almost like weird to even try to explain it if somebody was curious, because then you're just like, you're just like admitting the best, how crazy
the best is. Yeah, I mean, like the best way I've been able to explain it to, there obviously a difference between like a friend and an acquaintance, but like I got people in like fantasy football leagues who like they know of it, and like talking to like an acquaintance about it's like the easiest way that I can just tell them is, yeah, it took me about like 20,000 hours to do this, and I did it. And
Dude, I read something. What was it the other day? It was something about just the. It was something relating to 20,000 hours, but it wasn't about a video game. It was just saying, like, yeah, if you did like 20,000 hours of a certain thing, I mean, you have like double mastered it basically, because the 10,000 hour rule or whatnot. And I'm like, because I mean, on this account that I'm playing right now, I'm making some potions. I've played 17,000 hours. Like,
that's definitely a good chunk of time. The two of us, think about it, the two of us combined are probably at or very close to like 40,000 hours combined between the two of us.
No, I mean, so I didn't even start old school until 2015, like over halfway through 2015. And I mean, I had an account. I don't even remember the hours. I could log into it. I think it probably had around 3,000, maybe 4,000 hours. The next account I made had about like 2,000. So, I mean, I'm looking at, and I've played, here and there on other little accounts. I've probably put in 25,000 hours on this since 2015. I mean, it's literally been 7 years, 25,000 hours.
I've done like that. That definitely in that same time frame is like surpassed like my hours that I've put in. Because like when I first maxed, it took like 15 months or so, and back then like the EHP to max was like 3K. So, I mean it. Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know the exact number. I still have never checked. So aside from when they first came out with Hans, back in, I don't know what year it was. Like I checked then just for like almost like an efficiency percentage. Aside from that, I've never checked, but like I'd estimate it's, between like 20 to 25K.
Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous to think. I mean, but what's weird is, I mean, people can speak for. I don't think I'm allowed to speak for myself in this situation, but I feel like I'm a pretty normal person for having put in this. If I were to go around and say, yeah, I've put in 25,000 hours into RuneScape, if I weren't to like be there in person, they would just imagine this basement dwelling, neckbeard. I mean, they could. Who knows? Maybe I am. Maybe I just giving myself too much credit. But like, you really. It's weird to think putting in almost, I would say that roughly equates to about 7 hours a day for like 7 years straight. I don't know the exact math on that. I do know that it's 8 hours a day for the past 5 years, ever since I created this account. It's been like over 8 hours a day consistently. I mean,
have you been having fun still?
Yeah, that's the crazy. Now, I will say my hours probably would have decreased heavily had it not been becoming a content creator. I mean, simply having it as my job, believe it or not, it's not the craziest thing to play 8 hours a day on average, simply because like a lot of that is streaming and video making. And then like for my free time, it's not like I have to play an additional 8 hours. It's like, okay, everything included is that.
How do you feel like, so when you're playing like as a job, we'll just consider it that. Mm-hmm. Does it when you're playing and you're not like, are you still motivated to play when you're not creating content, or are there times where
I think back when I first started this account, I was 22. And so I'm 27 right now. And being 22 years old, I think there's something with, I'm not a scientist or anything, but I really do think my frontal lobe was not fully developed yet. And so I think I had a tendency to be very, very, very attached to like one particular thing. And maybe that's...
Does it fully develop when you're like 25?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. 25
somewhere around that range.
Kind of when you're fully an adult. You're not really developing anymore. You're there. You're an adult. But from 22, 23, and 24, those were like the prime years where, I mean, when I was 22, I was working a job at Target, like at a Target distribution center overnight, 12-hour shifts. Oh. I was like the only thing I was thinking about during my job was getting home and playing RuneScape. That's all I thought about. Like, all I thought about. I didn't care about girls hardly. I didn't care about what the fuck was going on in the job. I remember just driving in with a forklift. I mean, literally stabbing detergent. I mean, there was like 3 pallets stacked, just loaded with detergents, and I was a kind of a noob on the forklift, and I didn't put the prongs all the way to the ground to like go into the pallets, so I just stabbed on the bottom ones. Like I went through like 9 different detergent things, and the entire 3 pallet thing collapsed. And I just remember not giving a single fuck because I was just thinking about RuneScape the whole time.
Maybe they'd send you home for that.
No, they were cool with it. I just had to clean it up, so I was just paid to basically just clean my mistake.
Did accidents happen frequently?
Not for me. Now that was the biggest one, and I was like, okay, let me just not be on the forklift anymore.
Did you guys have a sign in there that said it has been, X amount of days since the last accident?
Like The Simpsons? Nah. I don't know if we had one of those. But I mean, there were accidents here and there. I mean, there was one day, I think the best day of my job. I hated my job. I've always hated manual labor jobs. They're just like, oh my God, it's just like dead end. There's not really much room to grow. It's mostly seasonal. I'd go back to school out of state and then just work. But the best day ever was when I accidentally sliced my finger open with one of these rusty pallets. Like the pallet just had wood sticking out of it, and I just sliced my finger and it started gushing blood. And I got to sit. I got to sit in this air-conditioned office for 4 hours paid. And I just sat there because the doctor wasn't there, and they are like at Target. I mean, this is like multi-billion-dollar company. I mean, they take injuries extremely seriously. They do not want a lawsuit, so they will like just do everything in their power to avoid anything. So they have to be totally
way
aware.
Cheaper
of it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So for 4 hours, I just sat there and got to be on my phone and just paid. And I was like,
was mobile out then?
I'm trying to think what I really did. I might not have actually been playing RuneScape simply because I don't think mobile. I don't know maybe mobile was out. I don't know. I don't know what I did. Maybe I did play a little bit, but I've never been truly a mobile person. I really enjoy RuneScape when I'm at a desktop. But no, I just remember, I mean, everything in my life revolved around RuneScape. And then as the years went by and I started content creating when I was 23, 24, 25, and I'm 27 right now. 26 was when I truly started to see like, okay, I kind of want to experience a little bit more in life rather than just dedicating all of my time and resources into RuneScape. So motivation, of course, has been like a lot lower, although it still is high. Like I still like to log in every day. I never push myself too terribly. I don't know. I don't push myself that hard when it comes to the game anymore, but I have natural motivation and natural drive just simply because I love endless progression, which is why RuneScape has always appealed to me. So yeah, I mean, just to answer your question in a roundabout way, as a job now, I'm kind of obligated to play the game, but luckily I'm still in a place where I do have a decent life balance, I'd say, and I enjoy getting to log in and just talk about the game because just simply my consistency with it has kept me up to date with updates, and I still get passionate about certain things coming into the game.
Yeah, I haven't really been paying much attention to any of the updates over the last like year to even like year and a half. So like my general knowledge of the newer content that have come out is really lacking now. Like I don't even read the news posts for the most part anymore. Like I'll read an occasional one, but there's probably like a 90% chance I've not read like any like particular post in the last like year and a half. So like, and that's just more so like a mentality of like, okay, what is this really affecting for me as a player? So I've like lost interest in keeping up on every update every time and every Q&A and everything like that. But the content creation side of that, when did you, while you were doing that, when did you think that you transitioned from like doing it a little bit to where it's like, okay, like this is something I need to be doing, like full time?
I'm glad I always
or was that right away?
I always love talking about this. So pretty much how it started with content creation is, I mean, seriously, even you're one of the inspirations from it. You I mean, Rig was actually a big inspiration for content creation. I remember just watching his streams and just realizing, like, damn, he's like just like so free. It just feels like he just gets to play the game, you know? Like that's like such a cool lifestyle. And of course, I was younger back then, where it seemed way more appealing.
Yeah.
But just seeing any content creator was just like, damn, they feel. I used to see content creators and streamers as a different breed of person, like just like, oh, they're a content creator. I'm not one. I'm just a normal person, and you know, I don't know. You kind of have to be built for that. But then I decided like that's not really how it works, and I could just start streaming if I wanted. I just have to be in a good position because I would go to school out of state, have a bunch of roommates. There's no way I was gonna try to stream and do school and stuff. And then I'd go home, and then I'm with my parents. I'm like, I don't want to stream with my parents around. So I had a really convenient opportunity where my brother had graduated from university. He moved out to Maryland alone, and he was doing an internship. And I was about to go back to school in January, but instead of going back to school to finish off my last like 3 semesters, I decided to basically just drop out and pursue streaming. And I had some money saved up because I would be, you know, living rent free at home. Moved out to Maryland with my brother, started streaming, had a shitty little computer, you know, living off the little amount of savings I had. And I was like, you know what, we're just going to send this streaming. I mean, I had no YouTube exposure. I had no exposure whatsoever other than just being a consistent viewer in other people's streams. So people recognized my name somewhat. But I didn't have like a crazy account at the time. I had a pretty decent Iron Man. It was pretty stacked, but like nothing crazy. And I just started sending it. And I remember getting phone calls from my dad. Just like, when are you going to get a job? When are you going to go back to school? When are you going to do? And I'm like, and I was just like so over school because I had changed my major a couple times. I didn't really know what I was doing. And jobs, they were always just the worst jobs. I fucking hated them. So my idea of a 9-to-5 job or overnight shifts was just off the table. I'm like, fuck that right now. I'm going to put my heart and soul into streaming, see where it goes. It was so extremely slow initially. I mean, I was averaging like 3 to 5 viewers the first 3 months. And then, you know, just a little bit more consistency, just kept doing it. It just built up. And then now I've been doing it for over 3.5 years, and it just slowly built. And then I started a YouTube that slowly drove more traffic to my stream and vice versa. And yeah, so to answer your question, I basically went in balls deep into content creation and just to see where it went. And I did have a deadline. I mean, I told myself, like, if I can't start making, it was very low amount, but if I couldn't start making $500 a month from content creation by a year in, I was probably gonna like just, you know, take it easy, maybe just do it partially and then get a job or go back to school or something. But luckily, you know, I was making a decent chunk, and then after 2 years, it was significantly more, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna just pursue this because I really enjoy my life, and I don't have a kid, I don't have a girlfriend, I don't have anybody I need to take care of. If I were to go homeless, it's not the end of the world. I'm not addicted to drugs. You know, I'm educated enough to be able to pick myself up and do something. I'm not really like, I don't know. And I feel like I'm more free spirited than most. I feel like I can just live off very little and be totally content. Now, of course, I'm getting older where that's a little bit different, but yeah, I pretty much just went balls deep in.
At what point did you? So that was about like now when you started, you know, it's for you. It's been like an exponential growth.
Mm-hmm.
How has that journey been for you to go from 3 to 5 viewers for a couple months to now like hundreds of viewers, and then you know your uploads get thousands of views?
Yeah, it's literally just all comes down to consistency, and I think part of it's confidence. Like initially, oh my God, I had no confidence. I mean, that's to be expected when you're pulling 3 to 5 viewers and a troll comes into your stream and says, like, "What are you doing?" Because I would stream 9 to 5 for the first 9 o'clock to 5 p.m. Eastern. Like that was my hours for the first 3 months because I wanted to treat it as a job, you know?
Yeah.
And people would come into my stream like, what are you doing? Like, you're streaming to 4, just like harassing me on my stream. I'm trying to grow my stream and it's not looking good. Nobody's talking in the chat. A troll comes in, starts putting me down. Like, what are you doing with your life? And just like, Jesus Christ, like this fucking sucks, dude. But it got to the point where, you start making some money, you start getting some supporters, you start getting a little bit of a bigger viewer base, and then the confidence comes along with that where you don't react to trolls, you don't get affected by certain things anymore, and that exponentially increases your confidence. Also, there is something called a YouTube voice. And if you look back at, like, because I've made over 100 rambles at this point where I just talk about random stuff. If you go back to my early ones, I sound almost depressed. And I've never really been, quote unquote, depressed, but you can hear the monotonous voice and just kind of boring, not really entertaining YouTube voice. But that kind of builds up over time where you start realizing, hey, what would I want to see? What would I want to listen to? Would I want to listen to somebody that's just being super monotone, or would I want to hear some energy like Bodhi level, where he's just bouncing off the walls right when he starts his video,
Yeah.
And that would kind of come over time, and that's something you can't really expect to have initially. But, yeah, I don't know. It's really cool to see just steady growth. I wouldn't say necessarily exponential. I think it's been pretty steady. There have been good leaps of year growth, I guess, stream wise, but YouTube has been very steady, and it's cool to see. I don't know. It's
okay.
Yeah.
How much time have you put into Marvel Strike Force?
Dude, I gotta say, so before I answer that, well, I'll answer that right now. Probably like 7 minutes. I think I put in like 7 minutes. But I haven't played it on stream. This I think tomorrow is actually going to be my 2-hour segment where I play it. I gotta say though, sponsorship opportunities. The first one I ever got was Raid Shadow Legends, like the first real one. And I'll be straight up, they paid me $1,500 to play a game. To play a game for 2 hours.
That is unbelievable.
And I was only polling like 50 average viewers, maybe 80, like 50 to 80-ish. And
one thing that tells you is like how much they're making.
Oh yeah. You get one oil prince downloading that game and start. yeah, it's over. No, but real talk. I mean, those sponsorships are very exciting because I would always want to. I don't know. There's something inside of me. Like, obviously, I want to make, people proud. I want to show that, okay, I'm doing something with my life, especially when it comes to like, my parents. I want to show like, right. Okay, I'm getting something done. I'm not just being a degenerate playing this game and making an excuse for it. So getting that opportunity definitely showed a different side, at least to my brother, who I've been living with for the past 3 years, and my parents across the country. Just being, and this was like years ago, but getting that, it really, I think, spelled out like, okay, content creation isn't a joke. It's viewership, and you get viewership, you get money. That people are willing to pay for your viewership, and that sponsorship really painted a pretty clear picture. Like, okay, this isn't just fun and games. This is a legitimate thing that can make me money. So, yeah, I think that was and it also taught me like, okay, if I can keep growing this, I mean, I'm not declining. Yeah, there's ebbs and flows to streaming, but like, there's something to this. And you see people like Bodhi, Foe, Curtis, Mr. Mammal, they didn't grow overnight. Yes, they had arguably a head start because they just streamed early on back when the platform was newer. But like, Bodhi's been doing this shit for 11 years. I mean, there's a reason why he's on top.
It's long, it's almost think of it as if you're like, like where you're building your like portfolio of content creation. It's almost like a long-term thing, such as if you're, going for like account progression in game. Like, you're not going to max in a month.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is just a slow burn, and I've realized that. Now, there's obviously exceptions. Oda Block popped off, super entertaining. People just gravitated toward his personality and his just super energy levels on his stream. But for the most part, a lot of content creators are just a slow burn where you're growing slowly over time. But if you can endure that and you have the lifestyle where a lot of people just actually can't. Like, a lot of people would really struggle. I was in a blessed opportunity where if I were to be short for a month of money paying my rent, my brother could cover me and I could pay him back. A lot of people don't have that privilege. They have to work and pay their rent and do all this stuff. And if streaming isn't providing that, they can't continue streaming. So I was definitely in a blessed environment to just be able to continue regardless of what happened. But yeah, it's slow growth, and I look forward to like years down the line of the podcast growing and the YouTube rambles going and the guides and whatnot and the stream. Just it's all consistency. It's all just go, keep going for the long haul.
It's awesome to hear. Like, it's inspiring to hear, like from where you started to where you are and where you're projecting, and where you've got the dedication to work towards, and consistency, and that will get you to that point. And for like the people who are like watching this watching the podcast, you're it's kind of same thing would go like if you start trying to stream and think that you're going to start making money or getting a ton of views. Like, it takes some time, regardless. Okay. There's, like your 1 in 1,000 or even rarer chance where it just, bam, it pops right away. But a lot of it is, it's a grind to get to, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of luck, but it takes a lot of hard work to, create that happening. And, if you put in the work, like, you can see some of the results of what that can become.
Absolutely. I mean, it really is work. Like, a lot of people just think it's just playing video games, but there's a lot that goes into it, and the mental side of it. When you're anticipating a certain outcome from streaming, like, oh, this is a great idea I have, this is gonna pop off. Like, for example, this is a very small example, but I made a big clue guide that took me over 100 hours to make. I mean, I had to get clips for every single hard clue step and perform them, execute them perfectly, and think about the most optimal routes to do. I mean, that video got like 5,000 or 6,000 views. I was hoping in my
for a couple
head,
more zeros.
I was thinking of maybe 30,000, 40,000 views, something that's like a really good resource that a lot of people would use. It didn't really pop off, and that's partly to do with the YouTube algorithms, partly to do with my own factors. Maybe it wasn't as good of a video as I thought it was in my mind. And when you see things like that, you can't get like disappointed. You have to learn from it, and you have to like just accept it that so many things are out of your control, which is really hard. Also, I gotta say, if I had I don't even think I could possibly muster the strength to go what I went through and pulling 3 to 5 viewers for 3 months straight. That was dark times. I mean, those were really, every day I'd end my stream and I'd be like, what am I doing? Like, I got to go back to school. I got to get something going for me, because you can't see years down the road. It's like so hard. You're so pigeonholed into like what you just did, like what your stream just was. And if the stream was bad, maybe you got up to like 10 viewers, and then by the end of the stream you're pulling 2 viewers. I remember there were streams, and I'm not talking my first week, I'm talking 2.5 months in. I would stream, I'd pull 10 viewers, I'd have 10 viewers, I'm like, oh yeah, like, let's fucking go, double digits, let's go. And then I'd stream for 3 more hours because I was really set on my 8 hours. I would be camped at 0 viewers for the last 2 hours. And it's times like that people don't really understand how much that can eat you up inside, realizing you are streaming to I would have 1 viewer, but it was myself, and I knew it was myself. So it's 0 people in there. And it's times like that where you're like, okay, I got to move on. And if you give up at that point, it's over, obviously. Like, you're probably not going to go back to streaming. But if you could somehow push through that and see, okay, what can I do to just advertise myself a bit more, market myself a little bit better, go out of my way to find new streamers and find new communities. And that, I don't think I could do that again. I really don't think I could. It took a lot of energy.
It like, from the start that you had, like it takes a lot of perseverance to push through that and see the success that you've been able to achieve. So yeah, like it not easy, takes a lot of work and a ton of perseverance.
How was I think we had talked about this in last year's. You were kind of admiring and just kind of a little bit of, I don't know, not bad envy or anything, but just seeing, hey, Jace, face camless, great income, assumingly. I mean, you see his sub counts booming, and he gets to play RuneScape. He gets to play the game he loves as a career, basically. And I remember you were kind of like, that would be a great place to be in.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
If I could trade, like I know he's got like 1,000 or so subs. Like I'm not at a point where I watch a ton anymore on Twitch. Usually what it consists of is me just checking the guys that I'm following, seeing what they're doing for a minute or two, and like unfortunately like not chatting. Like I just I'm sitting there lurking, seeing what everyone's doing, and then usually I'm on like the site for only like 15 minutes, but I'm just checking what everyone's doing. And you know, still follow him and still check him out every time. He's been changing up the variety from the clues onto like pets lately. But yeah, like he again, like I don't know how much he's making, but if I could be a full-time streamer and make half as much as what I do right now, I'd do it.
It's definitely like grass is always greener on the other side, I think. A little bit. And the reason I say that is just because like there isn't a guarantee that like you can maintain that. It's constant adaptation. It's like you've seen streamers that were booming a few years ago, and now they've continued to just do what they do without changing things up. Even their overlays, for example, are the exact same.
Like you constantly have to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people as well, like change their like gameplay style up, based on the updates that are coming out as well.
Yep. But I always like kind of hearing that because I see my brother, because my older brother has a job, and he actually just got another job. He got scouted basically to be a creative director over at another agency, and he's making over six figures now as a 29-year-old as a creative director, which is just really cool. And I've never been, as I've stated before, into like the 9-to-5 job, having a boss and stuff. He's kind of his own boss, but he still has to answer obviously to somebody higher. But I get a little bit of envy. Like, okay, he's got a consistent income. It's not like month by month. Hopefully, hopefully this month's good or whatnot. But then I hear from other people. I reached out to an old friend of mine that I haven't talked to in like 4 years, and he has an accounting job. He lives in Hawaii. He's, married to a beautiful girl, and he's working an accounting job. Something that he always thought he wanted in life was an accounting job where he's not being micromanaged and he gets to do a 9-to-5, go back home, enjoy the rest of his day. And he called me a month ago or so after not talking for 4 years. He was one of my roommates in college, and he just told me like, yeah, I am not in a good place mentally. Like, I've been working at this job 2 years, and it's...
What kind of accounting did he do? Was it tax or audit?
I'm not exactly sure. But basically what he says is it's just soulless. I mean, it's just do the numbers. Go sit on the computer for 9 hours. And in fact, sometimes he says he has so little work to do. He's still getting paid for it, but he has so little work to do. He has so much time to just think. And
he's got to do audit accounting then.
Yeah, it must be.
The tax boys get like
Hello.
super busy during like tax season, running like 70+ hour weeks for like periods.
It might be auditing, and he just said like he wants to get into some sort of content creation, and
Ooh.
he realized like he's not happy with where he is now. That's not everyone. He wants growth, like he wants personal growth. He wants to build something of his own rather than just working for somebody for the rest of his life. And so there's two sides of it, and I think there's no real like winner. But I will say it definitely makes me get a new perspective on what I do have and how blessed I am to like have gotten to this point. Because like, yeah, I see the other side of people just like, damn, I'm working for somebody else. I'm not really doing things I want to do, and it's I don't know. It's interesting though to see because yeah, grass is always greener on the other side. You never really can have it all.
Yeah. And it's, all about the balance between, pay versus happiness.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like like if I was, getting paid 100 some, like, 'cause, like people would be like, okay, like, say I'm making like the money that your brother's working. Some people would be like, yeah, like, I don't care how miserable life would be. If I'm making over 100K, like,
Yeah, I'll take
that,
it.
give me it. Yeah, yeah. Sign me up.
Yeah. Well,
Whereas, so there's a lot of, balance between, happiness and, money.
I want to ask you actually because I mean, you've had your fair share of streaming and podcasting. In fact, you were the grandfather of OSRS podcasting. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
I was on the Hexis podcast before I ever started the Sae Bae cast. Like
Hmm.
it was a great experience. I actually did rewatch that. I could barely deal with how nervous and shy I was. Like you could kind of I tried to pull off like I knew what I was doing, but I was still at the very beginning stages of content creation, it felt like, and I was a little nervous being on it, but it's I want to ask you basically like how was content creation for you? I mean, because I mean I don't know exactly when you started streaming, what year and all, but like what made you kind of step away? Was it just life got busy and just realized that maybe it's not going somewhere, or like how was the
Yes.
whole journey for you?
So, yeah, it was like, it was fun. I enjoyed like when I was doing it on a regular basis. The time where like I had the most freedom to do so was like when I was in college, because like I had a very structured, you know, schedule for schooling. So because of that, like it made it, far easy. And like that's when I was playing quite a bit then. Not that I'm not like even on the rest of the journey, but it's like while I was in college, like I didn't go out drinking or to parties. Like I'd play like intramural basketball and like things like that, but I would not, like so I didn't do a whole lot of shit in college other than like my schooling, my work, and like hanging out with my wife. So like I don't know, it's kind of easy to like have like find the time to do like content stuff then. Um like I really didn't start like I had like a couple occasional streams in like 2013 or 2014, which would be like when I'd be, doing like some kind of content that, you know, people like really haven't done before, like for the game, like given where the game was at that point. And then like, like I streamed like when I like finished maxing, which, was really big at the time. And like it's still a real good accomplishment when people get it now. Uh,
Hmm.
but like being like around like the 10th person to max is,
That's nuts.
it was a little bit different than, like when people are like 30,000 now, which is still a huge achievement. Like I'd love to do it on my alt, but I still haven't. So like, I had like a couple occasional things like that, but then like once I got, like pretty high ranked on the overall high scores, I don't know what place it was, maybe. I mean, like I would do like progress videos on my way to maxing, and that was like more so just like for personal stuff. But I don't know. Eventually, I just decided to start doing it, and like it went real well. And then started doing the podcast because I felt like it was a really good like community. Essentially, it was like a community event for the clan, and had a ton of fun with all of that. But yeah, like as I got busier, it just kind of fell to the side.
Mm-hmm. I could have seen it really does. It really just does come down to like your own desires and your own consistency with it. If there's other things that you want to put in front of content creation that ends up, stifling growth there. But I think if you were to have pursued streaming and video making and things, I think there definitely would have been. I think you would have been successful with it actually. When did you start? Like when was your first stream? Was it 2014, 2015?
Well, I mean, like in
2013?
terms of like when I decided to start streaming like more than once every few months for a
Yeah, yeah,
couple of
yeah.
hours, kind of thing. I think that was like early 2015.
Okay.
Because like I recall, like like there was really like not people streaming skilling at that time. And this is like on Twitch, this is different when like you had to apply for a sub button. Um, so like most channels didn't have that. And like, I don't know, like that's like I got like almost like 10, like I got like 9,000 something followers on Twitch. So like and most of that would have, been accumulated between like 2015, 2016 like time frame. But I think that like it never really was a priority to me to where I felt like, okay, like I'll put aside like school, or even like during the summers, like in between school, like not like I'm still gonna like have a job and work for it. And some of that is like by choice, some of that was like, oh, if you're gonna be because like did not lived with family like over like summer breaks between
Oh
college.
yeah.
And it's like okay, if you're gonna be here, you ain't playing RuneScape 100 hours a week.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, like at the same time, it was also good because I feel like it was a good learning experience doing some of the things that you know like some of the like jobs throughout that time frame that definitely wouldn't want to be doing now. So I mean, I guess that kind of you know was a good maybe not a reminder, but like give me some good like life experience that I otherwise like wouldn't have been able to obtain. So that was really good. But yeah, I mean like I don't think there was really a point where I felt like okay, like I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make this happen.
Yeah. It's so risky too. That's the other thing. Like there's no guarantee whatsoever.
Hmm.
So it's like, are you go and I'm not gonna lie, part of the thing that scared me the most was just how people would perceive me. I mean, when you're saying, "Oh, I'm gonna start playing RuneScape full time" to two people, like people see that and they're like, "You've lost your mind. Like, what are you doing?" So I had to basically like cut off connections with people, which I was willing to do. I mean, I didn't
Hmm.
have to do it, but just simply because of my own pride, I was like, I'm not gonna fucking talk to old friends and be like, "Hey, man, I haven't seen you in a couple years. What are you up to?" I'm like, you don't want to know. But because I didn't have a part-time job, I didn't have anything else going for me. It was just that I put all my eggs into one basket, and that was very risky. So it definitely there's a lot of like social consequences to doing it. There's also like just environmental, like wherever you are in life. Like for example, there's no way I would have started streaming at home, like with my parents. That would have just been first. Not only would it have been hella awkward, but I don't think I ever could have truly been myself either. Like I could just totally see my stream. I'm streaming. My mom walks in my room, starts asking me to like do something. I'm like, fuck off,
Got
like
gotta put a lock on it.
exactly. Like things like that. There's so many situations that could just totally have stifled my own like pursuit of streaming. I was in such a good position. And so like that really helped, but Yeah, I think really anybody can do streaming if you're passionate about the game, if you're passionate about content creators, passionate about growth, and just like building yourself up. It just takes so many hours to get through that hill, like that first little like initial hill. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's definitely the like most difficult time period with it.
Oh yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Life as a streamer gets so much easier when you go live and you know people will be there. It's not like, all right, I'm going live. Let's hope one person pops in the first 30 minutes. It's a lot different when you go live and there's already people chatting before you've even shown your camera. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a lot more inviting. I feel good starting my stream. Yeah. Anyway, so that's a little bit. I do want to ask you for a couple. This is actually coming from some DMs I got of some early memories of old school that maybe you haven't shared before, of just, nothing terribly special, but just memories of yours that you'll always look back on and just realize like those are the golden days. Are there any that come to mind?
Well, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before, but one thing that like I'm trying to think of like some early funny things, and I don't know what was going on. I was doing barbarian fishing at the time, and I was at the like Otto's Grotto, at the pond, and I don't know what, but like some random guy came up and was asking a question about where something is, and I told him to jump in the whirlpool, and like it wasn't like he wasn't looking for myth drags, and so like whatever he was looking for, I told him, hey, go jump in the whirlpool, and then he did it. So that was like an early so that was probably like August 2013 or something like
my
that.
God. Just clueless.
Yeah.
Dude, okay.
Yeah.
I gotta interrupt actually because this brought up the thing I was gonna ask you like probably half an hour ago. Fresh Start Worlds. Did you hear of that? It was announced
Like
yesterday.
old school.
No. This is a real thing that's coming out. Yesterday.
Okay,
It was just announced yesterday. They are planning on coming out with a thing called Fresh Start Worlds in October. And what it is the exact game, all the content we have right now, except there will be brand new worlds and everyone must be a main account and everybody must start as a level 3 on a brand new account. So you must pay, another bond to bond up a brand new account. And then what it does is everyone starts out level 3, fresh economy, fresh high scores, and you have 6 months to play it. And then at the end of 6 months, you transfer all that into the main game and you're a main account with everything you just had and everything. There was some backlash.
You
obviously.
keep your items as well?
Yes. It basically is just those worlds transfer over to the main world. So there would be some economy crash inevitably, but you're only playing for 6 months. So it's not like a shit ton of like raids items are coming in the game. Everyone's pretty newbie. And I can't see the game mode being terribly popular. There was a lot of backlash from the community on Twitter just saying like this is the stupidest idea ever. But I do think that a lot of content creators and YouTubers will push it. And I think initially at least there will be a lot of people on that brand new server. What are your thoughts on that? Are you interested in something like that?
I think it's a cool concept. It's pretty much like almost like a leagues, but
yeah,
like a
no.
permanent
Oh yeah.
leagues
By the way,
type.
no rewards whatsoever will be given.
Okay. The thing that I'm hesitant to support is like I'm okay with the transferring of stats. The thing that I'm hesitant on is the transferring of items as well. That I feel like I want to give them some credit, but I feel like that has a chance to be really buggy. Like what if there's like some item glitches? Like are we gonna get like a cold reset?
There's
Or,
going to be
like,
some crazy potential damages. I mean, think about just the Grand Exchange because keep in mind, this isn't like a 2007 server. It's exactly the game and content, and it will be continually updated. So it's literally just a section, like a different world. The thing I'm wondering is like, how is the Grand Exchange going to work? Because there's a Grand Exchange in this server, and then if everything's transferring over, including items that you're selling or buying in the Grand Exchange, is that just going to be like thrown over to the main server? Like, what is that going to do? What does that even entail coding wise to get that transferred over?
It sounds like an incredibly difficult challenge for whoever
Yeah.
it is that's in charge of ensuring that there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
issues with that.
Now, assuming everything is flawless, there has been some discussion on Reddit talking about the economy issues. A lot of people think it's not that big of a deal. Yes, it'll affect the economy initially, just when the 6 months is over. But keep in mind, I didn't say this, but at any point in that 6 months, you can transfer your account over to the mainland, but you can't revert back. Like, you can transfer over to normal worlds whenever you want in that 6 months. What the whole idea of it is just to give people a fresh high scores, fresh economy. Everyone starts out newbie, and you basically just race for 6 months, and then after the end of 6 months, you're just transferred into the main servers. So it's just to give people that excitement about starting fresh again. I made a little ramble on it last night, briefly. I don't know much.
Do you support it?
I mean,
what do you like and dislike about it?
so the thing I like is obviously freshness. I think a lot of people love the idea of people going to, right after Tutorial Island, everyone's level 3 running around trying to get the quests done, and it's a long enough duration where it feels like, okay, I can gain some significant progress. There's no XP multipliers, no drop rate multipliers, so it'll feel slow, but you still get that, like, okay, I can be the first person to get a whip, or I can be the first person to do this and sell it on the Grand Exchange for like shitloads of money. So it's just experiencing the game in a different way. The problem with it is it's ironic, because I think one of the problems with it is that it does end in 6 months. So it doesn't feel like true progression. It feels like, okay, like, yeah, I just get transferred over, and then at that point it's all the fun's over, which can be a good thing. I brought up different things which you might completely disagree with. My opinion on it is I would rather just them scratch that idea and just make a Mithril Man mode, which has been something that's been talked about for years, which is, again, this is mainly the argument against it is division in the community, which any new game mode kind of creates, is just a brand new Mithril Man mode, just a blue helmet you get, and what you basically are is an Iron Man that can trade. You're a Mithril Man that can trade with any other Mithril Man. So it's like a massive group Iron Man that everybody that's a Mithril Man you can trade with, but you cannot use the Grand Exchange. And but you can do group bossing together with Mithril Men. You can do anything with Mithril Men. It's just like a normal game, but you're kind of an Iron Man in a way, and you have your own little economy in this little world, but you're still playing with everybody else. I don't know. That's my idea of like a better alternative, simply because it's endless. It's a brand new mode, fresh high scores, fresh everything, but it's just a different twist that's still in the main game. I think
like it.
I think that's a better idea personally. Obviously there's flaws to both, but that's what I would say. Yeah, so what do you think about Fresh Start? Do you think you would do it if it does come out in October, which they plan to?
Yeah, no, definitely not. But like I hate to say it, but like, like unless like I'm progressing my main account on old school, like that's and it's also a stupid word to use, progressing, when like I already have 200 mil all. But like that's really just like the only content I'm interested in is like playing on like my main account.
See,
So
that's also how I feel. I'm very progressive based, and what I would do is I would just have my my account right now that I'm working on, always have that logged in doing something if I'm playing. But I would love to just experience the brand new game mode. Plus, I have not played as a main in so long. I mean, I'm talking since 2016. So I forgot what it's like to trade and use the Grand Exchange and have interaction with other players, group boss, and stuff like that. So for me, it's exciting because I know there's going to be a huge hype wave initially, even though people are saying it's going to be shit. I think a lot of people will log in day one, probably burn out within a month, but at least for that little bit, I get to experience just do whatever you want, participate in the economy, and I can play on my main account on the side and just do some AFK shit, which I do need to do.
Yeah, I'm looking at their announcement. I hear you, and I'm looking at their announcement thing for it. And one of the things that Aiza mentioned on here is that the dev time spent on this is considerably lower than any game mode that they've introduced. It's not meant to be seen as a new game mode; it's just another copy of old school. So yeah, I mean, really, I guess the only dev time that needs to go into that is just ensuring that there's no catastrophic failure
at the
when
end.
when it transfers over.
Yeah, as long as I can get that implemented perfectly, I don't see there being any issue besides like a marginal effect to the economy that could, drop some item prices. I just don't see in 6 months having like 30,000 T-Bows enter a game. There's probably going to be a few sites. I mean, it's 6 months from scratch with no XP multipliers. I mean,
yeah,
the economy would be affected regardless, but just at a slower rate. I mean, people would, instead of playing on the main game where you can, just excel way faster in the game, you now have a fresh economy. And like, yeah, but on the day where the 6 months ends, that will have an effect, but it wouldn't have been like any different than, I don't know. In the long run, it wouldn't have really been any different if people just played on the normal servers. I don't know. That's my take.
I guess
I'm not
you do make a good point.
But yeah.
And I mean, I guess you do make a good point. Like, if people play that rather than the normal game, there'll actually be less items that come in.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess it's not something for me, but I do see the appeal for it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have an idea? Like, what were your thoughts on OS RS? Like, just 2007, no content updates ever, just boom, there it is.
People would not enjoy that. There's no static spawns. Walking from place like path, like as you're running, there used to be a skill to running, because otherwise you'd be back walking.
Yep.
And like we're talking, is that like. I know that there's clients now, but there wasn't when it first came. Like how 07, are we talking like old school? Are we talking like obviously I know like they're all good with having that, but like try doing that without any clients, any plugins. There's no static
quality
spawns,
of life. Think
no
about
quality of life.
Think about fletching.
Like,
even
are
typing X9999 enter every single fucking time. Like
yeah. There's a lot. Like I do not think that it would be popular because like looking as the game is now to what it was, that like there is so much that you're gonna have to sacrifice for. Like
yeah. I thought of like a cool alternative. Like what if it was all the content back in 2007, but all the quality of life we have right now. So all the pathing's fixed, all the orbs, maybe all the plugins, but like the content alone, we have Neve's Cave back once again. That would be nostalgia.
Wasn't there upon release actually? So that would be out.
Wasn't, was there?
Yeah. No Slayer point system.
Holy shit! I forget how ancient
construction was really messed up. You had to like every like 5 or 7 times you'd have to give the guy that. Herblore was tough. Like there was no like identified or unidentified herb.
Yeah,
like
Jesus.
It was an unidentified herb. Like you didn't know what it was. There's no GE.
That's a pro in my books. I think so. I mean, it would be a total shit show. I mean, you got a good point. There is so many things.
It took the economy. It took the economy so long to actually even get to a stable place, and like the game was functioning for a couple years before the GE even came out.
Yeah.
So and then there's a ton of other things like no skill cape perks. Trying to think of what some other big things would be.
No Maxscape.
No Maxscape like that. Pretty much think of every method that you're doing right now. you would not be doing.
See,
Like you'd be doing a far slower, more click intensive method.
Yeah. There would seriously be huge issues. Plus, nobody can fully decide whether they'd want the quality of life or they want a pure 2007 mode with all the bugs and all the glitches and all the random shit.
Yeah.
Dangerous
No
random
Nightmare
events as well.
Zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, dangerous randoms.
Damn. See, I didn't play back in February 2013, so I really don't remember.
There were think of how many quests that have come out as well that just are not there.
Mm-hmm.
Too. So I think like if it were to have like they would somehow have to restrict you to vanilla client only and release as it was day of release.
That would be rough. That really.
It like I don't know why I played that version for like what would have been like 1,000 like that. Like looking at that is not a good game.
It's a dark time
compared to now. No, there was not even God Wars dungeon.
I know. There wasn't even rooftop agility.
Nope. And you couldn't even do what for a period of time was like Dorgish Khan. Like even that wasn't initially available. So like you're doing like Apatol agility.
Yeah, no, there would be some.
I mean, just so many other skills. You had to superheat for magic and smithing to 99.
Jesus Christ. It would be very niche. I mean, some people would play it. I would probably jump on the hype. I'd probably burn out 2 weeks later, be like, holy fuck, this is unplayable. I'm getting pissed off at everything.
I'd like to give a shout out to Trikul, who is playing an account right now and maxing it as he did, like 9 years ago. He's working on that right now.
Really? I think I've subbed to him on YouTube. I think I saw a video of him doing something. Some random little video. Or maybe I'm mistaken. I think it was Trikul though.
Yeah, check him out. Twitter, Trikul.
Damn. Yeah, we'll see whatever they come out with in the future. Personally, I'm more of... Oh, here. You know what? I'll just share. Some people had probably already heard this from my ramble last night, but toward the end, I was thinking of a league. I want to hear your thoughts. This is a very silly idea. Just keep that in mind, but I want to hear your thoughts on it anyway. What if they came out with a league that was potentially, I don't know, 6 months long or something? It could just be 2 months with some XP multipliers. But what it is you start out with a max cape, max stats. And and whenever you gain XP, it's negative XP. So your whole objective is to get to level 1 in all stats. And I brought up this example. You start out 99 agility. You start doing arty initially, getting the same XP rate, 63k or whatever. As soon as you drop down to 89 agility, you can't do arty anymore. You got to go to the lower course because now you're level 89 and you keep lowering. The most masochistic, sadist mode of all time. What are your thoughts on that?
I like it.
It's called Benjamin Button mode. Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I like that more than like the Fresh Worlds idea.
There's got to be a spin on it. I feel like the Fresh Worlds is too basic.
Yeah, I like and even discussing like the Mithril man mode, like what you just said there, I like that better than the Fresh Worlds and that just because like it's so different, like whereas every other game mode ever has been towards progress. This is progress, but like anti-progress.
Yeah.
So I like that as an idea, and getting yourself down to that point.
I would just love to see Slayer. Your 99 Slayer, getting all the best monsters to kill. You keep leveling down, so your max hits are lowering as you go. So you'd want to keep strength as highest as possible while you're just hitting. You can't even wield weapons at certain points. So you're like killing a Abbey Demon task. You get your whip, you only get to use it to 85 or 70 attack, and then drop below. You got a down gearing weapon stuff. I just think it would be so funny to just watch somebody at level 3 combat walking around. They're working on like fishing at that point, but they're level 3 combat. Just like that would be just funny as fuck. And you would have to do Slayer initially. You cannot be killing random stuff because if you can only get negative XP, you have to do Slayer for all your combat. because
Yeah,
you don't want to be
otherwise they're
70
gonna be-
Slayer with level 1 on combats.
You sure don't. I do like that as an idea.
It would be crazy. It would just be cool to see like what people's paths would be.
There would be a lot of discussion about it as well. You know, if you want to think about like it as like a so like when Dead Man came out, I feel like initially that was done more so for like marketing purposes. And it ended up, transforming quite a bit from when it started to like where it ended up becoming. But like the if you want to talk about like just from like a social interaction and like marketing standpoint, an anti-progress league would be far more successful and generate more buzz than a fresh world.
I agree. I think there'd be a lot of dev work involved in that, but
Yeah.
I think the most exciting part is it's a completely different spin on RuneScape, where mostly RuneScape is like, oh my god, I got to start from scratch. I got to do all these quests. I got to do all this bullshit. What if you started out maxed, all quests done, all achievement diaries done, and you're just lowering? Your whole objective is just to get to the lowest base point, basically. There would be a
You talk
lot
to
of
any mods about that ever?
I mean, I've just brought it up in some rambles, and inevitably, maybe a couple JMods have heard the idea. I've also talked about it on previous casts here and there, just the Benjamin Button idea. But there would be some real problem. There would be some. There would be some things we haven't thought about, like for example, questing. When you get to lower stats, like what are quests gonna do when you get below a certain like threshold of stats? You know, like. Do you even get a quest cape initially, or what happens with that? What happens with achievements? What happens with like? There's a lot of details that we haven't really like nailed out with how that would go. But for the most part, I think it's a cool idea, and it would definitely bring a lot of hype, at least on YouTube and stuff, seeing people's routes, what they would take.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I really do like it.
All right, Randalicious, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I have a couple more questions to ask before we wrap things up. And first one I want to ask is something I ask a lot of my guests. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now, or where would you like to be? I know the game has kind of been more of a casual pursuit, so I don't see it necessarily in-game, but maybe IRL and maybe a little bit in-game. Where you see yourself? So yeah.
I just like to paint an ideal picture 5 years from now. I'm retired 100% from RuneScape, not even casually playing.
That's healthy. That's healthy.
First, yeah, that's the first thing. Hopefully, it's like so like to talk about like policing real quick here. A lot of people like you can depending on your state or anything, you can usually retire around like 53 to 55, and then start like collecting your like pension and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every cop that I know that has retired, they then like get a part-time job after that.
They just
And
that bored.
It almost feels like that's kind of what I've done, like with RuneScape. Like, all right, yeah, I finished like the full-time part of it, but like, yeah, let me still do a little bit of part-time stuff.
Yeah.
So 5 years from now, I hope that I'm fully retired from RuneScape. Even if I were to stop today, it's been an excellent time on it, and whether it be like the gains, or even like the community, it's just been awesome. But like I know that I should hang it up sometime soon. Like if you'd asked Tom Brady 5 years ago, where do you see yourself? I bet he didn't say still playing football, still
Yeah.
winning Super Bowls, but there he still is. But so yeah, I'll say like 5 years from now, hopefully I'm done playing RuneScape, and it'd be nice to 5 years from now have like a like a family, like have a kid
Yeah.
or two. I don't know, nothing more than two though. But maybe get around to getting that because that just be an awesome experience.
Absolutely. I can't even imagine having kids right now. Like I'm not in a
Dude, I
relationship
bet, like
even right now, so like thinking of that is just crazy.
Only takes one day.
I know. Takes 6 seconds. No.
Oh, better than me.
That's cool. Yeah. That sounds
Like
exactly what I expected.
I still expect to like still be like in my career.
Yeah.
And I don't, whether it's whether I'm still living where I do now or not, I guess here you go. Done with RuneScape. Still with my wife, happily married, and perhaps a kid.
That's cool.
I guess that would 5 years from now
Yeah.
would be a few things.
Very cool. All right.
And content, and having felt content and accomplished in the gaming.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just the freedom to be able to play if you want to, no obligation. I mean, that's already been done with for almost a year now at this point, but just living life. All
Yeah.
right. Last thing I want to ask you is for 3 shout outs from the community. Anybody that you feel deserves one. I know you've kind of obviously finished 200 mil all, and you're not necessarily that big of a, not taking that big of a part in the community anymore. But if there is 3 people that you would like to shout out, now's the time.
All right. Let me give 3 shout outs here. So although I still I still am the leader of Hexis, and we're still very involved in the administrative aspects of that. We even we had like a staff meeting like 3 days ago, and I still really love the being involved in that, and giving that all the effort that I can to just try to make things better for everyone. And so with that, I'm gonna give a huge shout out to I'm giving 5 shout outs.
Okay.
Shout out to the 2 admins, Krisha and Hail Vegeta, and shout out to the 3 mods, Bala, Cloudy Sleep, and Hoobloob.
Hell yeah. Okay. Randalicious, it was a pleasure. It's this one was definitely a treat for me. I love getting repeat guests on. I've only done it a few times so far, but it definitely feels a lot more like, I don't know, a little bit nostalgic, a little bit, because I feel like I just talked to you. It feels like last week, even though it's been over a year. But guys, down in the description, Randalicious. If you don't mind, I can include like maybe the Hexis Discord, your Twitter.
Yeah, go for it. And like for anyone who has any questions, whether it be about anything like legal wise or like RuneScape wise, feel free to reach out to me. Like definitely Discord's the best place to contact me at. And I don't know if I'll always have Discord Nitro, but I'll always be in the Hexis server. So if anyone, if you ever have any questions, any viewer about really anything, feel free to reach out, and I'm willing to have a conversation, whether it be voice or text, any way that can help anyone out.
Awesome.
My Discord username as of right now is Randalicious, hashtag 0001. But I'll always be in that admin slot in the Hexis server.
Hell yeah. Well, I'll have that
anyone ever
linked
wants
as
to
well.
reach. Cool. So yeah, anyone ever wants to reach out, I'm happy to do so and have a conversation. Try to be civil.
Hell yeah. Randy, thank you very much for your time today. Guys, if you enjoyed this cast, be sure to check out Randy's links in the description. Also, down in the description, there will be a Patreon link if you want to support the Sae Bae cast. $2 pledge is the minimum pledge if you would like to. There's also one-time pledges if you would like to support. And yeah, that's it from me. Randy, thank you very much again.
And also, if you have Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime, make sure to, on his channel, hit that free sub. Doesn't cost you a thing, and you're showing him some support.
Much love. All right, guys. Take it easy. Have a great night. We'll catch you in the next one.
God bless.